Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast, episode 730 for Tuesday, the 6th of May, 2025. I'm your host, Mark Webb, gamertag Pearson ID, Steam ID, Webby 360G, and joining me today is...
Back again, it's Chivo Trophy Whore Peebs.
And back again, it's Graham, otherwise known as G Hamox 14.
And not Sensei Switch, but Nick.
I know. What? Nick, Switch is normally on every week, and he can't make it this week.
He's getting that double time, bank holiday money.
He is, isn't he? So he's getting all that money for all those video games he keeps buying and not playing.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, so it's all good. It's lovely to have you guys back. Peebs has not been on for ages. Graham hasn't been on for a while either. And Nick's been MIA a little bit recently as well. So nice to have everyone back.
Summer, isn't it?
I know. But it's nice to have everyone back. Big hello to everyone who's listening live on Twitch. St. Adams, big shout out to you, especially because I was streaming this afternoon as well, and he was chit-chatting to me and keeping me company this afternoon as well. But I'll get into that a bit later. But what I want to hear about first is Peebs, because we have touched on this before, Peebs, where, you know, you used to be massive Xbox fanboy with me, you know. You've been with 360 Gamercast since nearly the beginning, the very early days, you know, big 360, Xbox 360 fanboys. I'm semi still there with my PC, so I get access to all the Xbox stuff on the PC anyway. But in recent times, last year or so maybe, if I'm accurate with that, you've found yourself migrating more to the PlayStation, and you now call the PlayStation your main console now, and you even didn't renew your Xbox Live / Game Pass subscription either, which is quite a big thing to do, really, for someone who's spent over a decade, you know, on a system with their online profile, etc., etc. I'm just quite interested because obviously to hear some more stuff about that, because obviously you're kind of laughing a little bit in the background now because a lot of the Xbox exclusives have come to PlayStation now. There's more coming in the future as well, which we'll touch on in the news as well. How are you finding life over on the PlayStation, and are you missing the Xbox at all?
Well, I haven't tell a lie. I renewed the subscription for a month, but only the core. Is it the core one?
Yeah.
There's different tiers, isn't there?
Yeah.
And that was only to join Collie on COD the other Saturday, and I used my Bing points to do it, so I didn't really pay out anything. But in your answer to your question, no, I'm not really missing it. I haven't really switched it on apart from that other Saturday to play a bit of COD. And I've been sort of playing COD on the PlayStation, so... The annoying thing is when I play with the crew that we normally play with, they're all Xbox and obviously on PlayStation. And I could play and then go into Discord, but it's just easier with party chat. But no, I'm not really missing it. I'm loving my PlayStation still. I just love everything about it. I prefer the dashboard. It's quicker, crisper. I'm starting to really get into the trophies as well. I'm finding them probably more addictive than bloody achievements now, which is a bit crazy. But no, I'm like you say, there's more to, you know, the exclusive Xbox games are coming over now. So would you really need an Xbox now, especially going forward with the price hikes and everything? Why would you need? Saying that, I would say, because obviously I'm a PlayStation Premium subscriber, I would say that the Xbox Game Pass is probably better choice-wise for games. Obviously, you've got the Call of Duty on there, and obviously you'd add Indiana Jones and all them sort of things. Whereas, they're on the PlayStation now, but you've got to pay for them.
Yeah.
Forza and stuff, and then obviously now there's, like you say, in the future more games coming. But yeah, you'll be paying £70 for them. But yeah, I'm still loving it.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Back anytime soon.
I find it very interesting because, for me, I think, well, for me, one of the reasons why I always stayed more towards Xbox. I mean, I've got all the consoles anyway, as you know, but
yeah,
it's not just the games for me. It's always been the community, and in the past, the majority of this community in particular has been on the Xbox. So, that's where you get your social interaction and stuff like that for video games. But what I've been finding in the last couple of years especially is, the community's great. I'm not going to take anything away from it at all. The Discord's very busy. We all chat a lot. But what I find is, obviously, as we're getting older, other life things going on, etc., that social interaction on any system, I've found has become less and less. So even now, if I'm want to play, I don't know, Forza online with someone, we have to arrange it days in advance, and then something might happen. It's not like the old Xbox 360 days where you just see each other playing something and we'll just hop on and play. Our lives, I think all of our lives have gotten a lot more busy since that era. And I think that pool of playing with friends together online on one system has become less for our age group, maybe, but also with the advent of crossplay as well, that is another thing where you don't need to all be on the same system as well. So you're going to kind of gravitate to where you're more either which thinks a more powerful system, or where the exclusives are, the few exclusives are, I guess, especially in the console space, and I think for a lot of people at the minute, if you're just a console gamer, that's PlayStation. If you're PC as well, then obviously, like for me, I'm more PC these days. But I think it's a lot like there's quite a few factors. It's easier to talk to people and game with people on other systems, which is great, which means you can play on any system. So that kind of brand loyalty one doesn't need to be there. But also, I think the other factor, as I mentioned before, is kind of like everyone in our community's gotten more busy and stuff like that as well. So I think with all those factors in play, I think that's why we've seen people split off into these different ecosystems. I think the only thing that would kind of keep you in an ecosystem, like Xbox or PlayStation in particular, and I don't know if you agree with me on this or not, is your digital library of games. Because obviously if you move from Xbox to PlayStation and you don't have your PlayStation, your Xbox anymore, then you lose that library that you've spent thousands of pounds on. And that's kind of the one thing that keeps me owning a console as well.
Yeah, because I mean, I thought about, but only a split second, about selling the Xbox. But I don't think I ever would. And like you say, because obviously your back catalogue's on there, but I don't think I would anyway, because I like to have all the sort of main consoles anyway.
Yeah.
And, there would be times when I would go back to it and stuff. If a game came out that you wouldn't be able to get on the PlayStation, although that seems to be not going to happen much now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, why, to me, it's a bit. Don't get me wrong, I loved our Xbox. Back in the day, we was constantly on there, constantly in party chat. I would have said that's what I miss about the PlayStation. The community's not there as much. The only people I speak to on there really are Stunty and then my brother.
Yeah.
Although I've got like 100 people on my friends list there, I only really speak to 2 people on it. Don't really game with anyone on there, but it seems a bit more lonelier. But then saying that, on the Xbox, it's like that now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I speak to you and Collie and a few others on there, but not like it was back in the heyday. But like you're saying, that just seems to be the rule of thumb now anyway. So,
yeah,
but
But as you say, and I get it, and you know, it's hard because people have got kids now or busy, and it like for me, I don't know if it's I'm like a lot of evenings I'm just too fucking tired to game that. Like a lot of evenings, I just want to veg out on the sofa. I must be getting old, but you know, it's become a lot harder. And obviously for weekends, I used to game a lot on the weekend, but now obviously my weekend revolves around family time, right? My kids and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
you know, I understand completely why people can't just hop on. But even like arranging gamer nights became so difficult that I had to stop doing it because no one was turning up. And again, that's just because people have got busy lives, right? And that's just what happens when you get older, right? So I think, as I said earlier, that it is that mixture of all those things encompassing into that one, you know, and you know, and where are gamers going to go, right? Gamers are going to go where the most powerful console is and the console that has the most video games. At the minute, that's the PlayStation 5 with the PS5 Pro, right? So I get it.
Also, it's obviously, I know we keep repeating ourselves, but like Forza and all that, they're all coming over to the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And I know people like, obviously, my brother is a man. He's always been PlayStation. He's never had an Xbox, so he's bought Forza this week. People in the forums are going, "Oh, what are you playing Forza for?" Like, I've rinsed it on the Xbox, but he's never played it before. But it's a brand new game to him, and obviously they're saying on the, you know, it looks the best it's ever done on the Pro. So, and he's into his racing game, so why wouldn't he get it? I mean, if you've only ever owned an Xbox, which a lot of people do, and God of War or Nathan Drake came out, and they're old games, people would be buying them straight away on the Xbox, wouldn't they? So
no, I agree. Yeah, it's weird because I think sometimes, because a lot of us in the community, we all have, many of us have all the consoles, right? So, and we kind of forget that we're kind of in a minority of gamers as a whole. Like most people have a console, and you know. And I'm guilty of this because I've always, like, from as far as back as I can remember, since I've been earning my own money, I've always had every console. So it doesn't really cross my mind sometimes that people aren't like that. They just have one or the other. So, you know, we might take the piss and have a little dig in Discord. Oh, why are you playing Forza for? It's like 4 years old or whatever. I don't know when it came out now. But yeah. You know, we do need to remember, you know, for those PlayStation people that don't have an Xbox, it's the first time that they can own it or they've played it, you know, and it is a great game. So, you know, but it is quite alien, though. I don't know if you guys can admit this. It is quite alien. You know, we've all grown up during, like, Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, Xbox and all that, where, you know, these consoles all have a lot of exclusive games. And you remember that feeling we all had when we first saw Sonic on a Nintendo? It was I found it really weird, you know, because I never thought I'd see the day. And now I'm kind of getting that feeling again, seeing these Xbox games come into PlayStation. It's just strange.
Do you think we're ever going to see God of War and Uncharted on Xbox, though?
No.
I can't see him.
No.
I think PlayStation would pretend. I just don't think they would.
No.
It's the company, they're very, you know, careful with their, like, IPs and stuff like that. I just think they think, well, if Xbox don't care, then, you know, that because there's basically a software company, Microsoft, who runs them. They make money. I don't think they care where they make money. You know, because the whole point of selling consoles is to make money by selling games. That's the whole, you know, so if they don't have to, I think they'd be happy if they didn't have to make any more consoles.
It is weird. The 360, lol. The 360 the 180 they've gone, shall we say, because Xbox as a brand, you know, the original Xbox started off as kind of a side project, and it was actually built out with off-the-shelf kind of PC parts, right? And they were kind of like, I know they were they've always been part of Microsoft, this huge global corporation. But it always felt like those early days. They felt like the little guy. They felt like this fringe place to be, and with the 360, probably the greatest console ever, in my opinion. Had so many great games, such great experiences online. And then they just botched it with the One, and I don't think they've ever recovered from that, from that fuck up at E3 for the Xbox One. And the big corporation has taken over it again, really. Like the heads have got their fingers in the Xbox pie now. And it feels like they're just kind of ripping it apart piece by piece. And, and it really does feel like, with many games going to PlayStation, and they'll probably end up on the Switch too as well, a lot of the games. I feel like Xbox are doing a Sega now, and they're just going to go software only, and and not do. They'll get to a point where they don't do any consoles because it won't be worth their money to do.
Yeah,
but that's all
going that way
eventually.
I hope it doesn't.
I think that's the time.
Yeah.
I think that. Yeah. I mean, I've said it for years. They just want smart TVs and cloud streaming to be the norm, and we're pretty much there now with Netflix, aren't we? And what did that take? 10 years for streaming to become most people's preferred thing? I mean, I used to buy so many Blu-rays. I just don't buy anything now. I just streaming. I mean, mostly Netflix. I've never bought a movie, like full price or whatever to rent it. But
yeah, I think. Yeah. I think with gaming it's different. I don't think that's going to happen for like as a actual proper thing. Like that's the only way you're going to game for. Well, I don't think ever. But if it did take a very long time,
if it worked, I think people would accept it. We might not, us people who don't like digital. But if PlayStation and Xbox just both did it, then we'd be like, or maybe we go on to the Switch 3 or whatever.
Or they just make it very expensive to do, I mean, I'm dabbling in the new section because PlayStation and Microsoft now have put the prices up of their consoles and peripherals this past week.
We called that when Nintendo did it, didn't we? Thing we all said.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely,
Nick. That's what I say. It's just these people in charge just only caring about short-term maximising profits now, that they don't care, the negativity it will have long-term. Because I think they're just trying to rinse the hardcore gamers out of as much money as possible, because, the casuals are just playing Fortnite and buying FIFA and COD once a year, aren't they? So I don't think they're getting as much money from them as they'd hoped, and they're just trying to maximise it off us. But I don't know about you guys. I'm not buying nowhere near as many games as I used to.
Oh no, I mean that's not because I don't want to. I just have other priorities where my money's got to go.
Mate?
Well, no, I can't.
Nobody can.
And
no, I mean we might buy two games a month.
Oh, I wish I could buy that many.
No, I'm just saying back in 360 before we had, and they were like between £30 and £40, we buy two without thinking about it, possibly 3 games a month. Now we're down to buying like, 1 game a month, if that, and they think, oh well, we used to get, £120 a month off this guy, and now he's only buying 1 game. Well, if we triple the price, we'll get all our money back. And yeah, that looks good over the next quarter, but eventually people are just going to stop buying them altogether. I mean, I know my mate at work, I know 2 people have got Xbox, 2 people have only got PlayStation, and the Xbox guys just have Game Pass and haven't bought a disc game for years, and the other 2 just play Apex and FIFA. They don't play anything else. Yeah. They're not getting money from that. It doesn't matter if they put the games up to £80-90 if they're just playing Fortnite, do they?
Theft Auto says hi.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that as well in the news. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the 360 days, I played so many games. Peebs, I don't know. I can't remember if you did it as well, Peebs. We rented our games through that Boomerang Rentals
Well, I used Love Film.
That's right.
For quite a long time until they got bought out by Amazon. But yeah, I did rent. I rented games. Yeah, so I was just rinsing through games, renting. I think I had used to get about 4 a month.
Yeah.
You had different subscription packages, didn't you?
Yes, that's right.
Webby, do you think with Forza now being on here, I mean, I don't care what anyone say, the Horizon games are probably the best car games you can buy at the moment.
They're super fun. They're and
I just wonder if that's going to have a negative effect on like Gran Turismo.
I don't think so. I think you got different.
You never got this, did you? That's what I'm saying. You had Forza on Xbox and you had Gran Turismo on PlayStation. You were either one or the other. But now they've got, the choice of both. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if the next Horizon game will launch like day and day on both.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It just makes you wonder. People have played. I mean, like I said, I've played Gran Turismo 7. I haven't really played it since 3, and it's basically the same game from back then. Obviously, the graphics are nicer, and there's like plenty of, it looks lovely, and it plays well. But it's the same type of game that they've had so many times. Whereas, this open world type game, I know it's not full arcade, but it's between.
It's very arcadey, yeah. I mean,
yeah, but I meant compared to
like a Gran Turismo,
one of the old-fashioned Need for Speed. It's not as arcadey as a Need for Speed.
No,
but it's sort of.
Is there plans for the normal Forza to go onto PlayStation?
Not that I've seen at the minute.
You'd have thought if they sent this one over, then they'd do the other, wouldn't you?
I think it's Gears of War coming out next. I think.
Yeah, you've tapped into my news now, Nick. But that's coming out in October. A remaster of the original Gears of War. We'll get into that a bit more in a bit, but Forza Horizon. Go on.
Just read it sold. Well, didn't it sold? It just said there's the new. This obviously went on to PlayStation. It's gained 700,000 more gamers, but I'm guessing that must be sales then.
It must be.
Although there'll be probably quite a few people like what I've done, game shared it, so I've not actually paid for it. My brother has, but.
But you can only play it once at a time, can't you? So it must be set for 700,000. That's not bad, is it?
It's a good game though, mate, because obviously, like Darren was talking about it the other week. So I actually jumped back on it with Marcus. We had a good few hours on it. I think it was last week I talked about it. And because I haven't played it for a while, because it's been out a few years, I forgot how fun it is. And they've added a lot of new content on the main map. Obviously, you got the DLCs as well, which are decent, but. The online is still quite, I always found a full game quite quick, and they're always fun because I don't do the races, I do like those party games online, and they're still so much fun to play. So, and it's full crossplay as well.
Quite a few gamer nights on there, didn't we?
Yeah, man.
All I remember playing online is Webby's drivatar just smashing me off the road all the time.
Too right, mate. Too right. But no, it's good to come back because it's such a fun game, and it's just nice to go back to those games you kind of forgone about there. So it's giving it a new lease of life, really.
But the thing is, as well, is there anything on PlayStation which is like it other than that Crew Motorfest, really?
No.
There isn't really, is there?
No, so...
But,
I can see what Microsoft are doing. I can see that, they want to make money, and I get it. They're a big company. But I think doing this... And I know personally, I think it's great that more people get to play the games, and it gives the game a new lease of life, and with the online and stuff. But it is the easiest way to piss off your fans. If you've been an Xbox gamer for 20 years like me, and you've always bought an Xbox exclusives, you spent thousands on the games and built up your library and that, and you're like, oh, now you're putting all your games on a PlayStation? Well, fuck you, Xbox. You know what I mean? Because you're like... Because you'd be sitting there thinking...
Having your enjoyment out of it, just because someone else is now playing it.
No, but if you think of it as from a fan point of view, you'll be thinking to yourself, well,
that's the thing. People
why the fuck have I got
aren't they?
Yeah. why would you own an Xbox? Because if all you...
I don't know why would you buy another one or the next one? I think that's the problem.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy another one now.
Yeah, if it comes to the next one, you think, well, actually, all the games are coming on PlayStation, especially if the next few are day and day. You'd think, well, what do I buy? PlayStation. Not just that. I mean, obviously, stealing more Webby's news. These consoles aren't cheap anymore, are they?
No.
You know, and if the newer ones, you could be talking £1,000 for a console. So, you know, you're just gonna, and I do think that's one, being greed for short term, and two, I think that's their way of weaning people off, because if these consoles end up £1,200, £1,500, or you can just play for the, you know, pay for the cloud £14 a month or whatever it is, you know, I'm saying, and it works. I think that's why they're deliberately doing this.
I think
you touch on that.
Well, what I think as well, though, is obviously PlayStation tested the waters with the PS5 Pro, and you look how well that sold at £800 with a disc drive. That's a lot of money. Yeah. Sorry. So, Graham?
Did it though? I thought the sales were very average. They were saying,
yeah, worse than PS4 Pro, a lot worse.
Yeah, but it still sold pretty well, didn't it?
No, it sold okay, but they're saying a lot of the people who bought the scalp copies found that they were having to sell it off at cost because there wasn't the demand for them that the people were expecting.
As far as I'm aware, they were saying that the PS4 Pro didn't sell, it sold okay. But whereas this one, I think the standard PS5 is still outselling the Pro. Like,
well, of course, but it's like with Xbox, the Series S is a bigger seller than the X because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
But because it sold quite well, or it sold in numbers, right? We don't know the numbers.
Enough. Yeah.
That's kind of testing the waters, in my opinion, right? And I mean, other companies, Xbox looks at this and be like, well, you know. People have bought it for that, then so we'll put a price up, because the Series X isn't that much super less powerful than a PS5 Pro.
No.
You know, so anyway, what I was trying to say was, I think if the prices get too silly, which they may or may not, we don't know, I think it will push more and more people towards PC gaming, because one of the things that stops people from gaming on a PC, apart from space, etc., is cost, the upfront cost of all the parts and all that sort of stuff. But if you can build a PC for, say, £1,500 and a console's £1,000, well, then a lot of people can say, well, I might as well spend the extra £500 and get cheaper games, free games if you know where to go, not pay for online and all this stuff. So, you know.
You'd be happy with, I mean, you could get £1,000 gaming laptop with an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller, a HDMI cable, and plug it into your telly.
Yeah.
And I think you'd probably had better hardware now on a laptop like that. And like say, all the games are half price, CD keys. I know a couple of people that have actually done that, and they never thought they would.
Yeah,
I thought, like I said, like me, they thought PC gaming was a lot more complicated than it was.
It used to be, but it's just like a console experience now.
It put me off for like over 10, 15 years, mate. You know, because I got out just after Steam started.
Mm-hmm.
That was like, you had to buy the discs, have several discs to install everything, you know, update your drivers manually, go to each individual website for the game, download the latest one, you know, and obviously this is before social media, so you didn't know when a patch was coming out, you know, if it was coming out. You'd have forums moaning about the bugs, and you could wait 6 months for a patch, whereas now, there you go, it's done, and it just does it for you. So it's, you know, I think a lot of people will go PC.
Yeah. But
no, the other thing you got is if Xbox drop out and just go like software, then there's no competition, and PlayStation can charge what they like.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's the problem, isn't it? They have been putting the prices up.
Yeah, and you are right there, Peebs, because Nintendo are in a different kind of, Well, they're different ballpark, really, aren't they? They're not competing.
I don't know. They're getting up there in price, aren't they?
No, but type of games though, Nick, right?
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're not in the same genre, really, are they?
Yeah. I just think because they've upped their prices as much as they have, it's not the much cheaper alternative. It's just an alternative.
Yeah.
Nintendo is far more casual, isn't it, for the filthy casuals?
Or kids, really, as well,
Yeah.
Or Dan.
Well, I mean, they're good for what they are, and they're good games on it. But if you're going to play your Call of Duties and stuff like that, and your hardcore, big games, you're not going to play them on your Switch, are you?
No.
Even the new one.
It would be interesting to see what the future holds, though, because I think if Microsoft did drop out of hardware, I'm just pondering if another company would come in to take their place to rival PlayStation in that space. It would be quite interesting to see.
Dreamcast 2?
I'd love to see that. If Sega made another console, I'd probably buy it day one.
I mean, someone could come in and take it if they wanted to. I think it'll be the newer versions of the Steam machines. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to have the Steam Deck to rival the Switch, and they're going to have Steam machines to rival the consoles.
Yeah, you'd be sorted.
Yeah, just buy two Steam. Your games play on both.
Yep. The all digital future, mate.
Ugh, it's horrible.
I know. Good thing Darren and Stunty aren't here to moan even more, eh?
I do wonder, though, because I don't know how it works exactly, but I mean, you've got some others like Epic and stuff like good old games, but are they really a rival to Steam?
No.
But I'm not sure how CD keys actually get, I suppose they buy them in bulk or whatever, but, if there wasn't CD keys as a cheaper alternative, would Steam just be charging £80-90 a game?
Well, they already are, aren't they? When you look at games that come out on Steam and console day one, they're more or less the same price if you buy from that storefront.
Like I said, I never bought a brand new Steam game. I mean, the last time I looked, like years ago, it was like £40 for a game on 360, and on Steam it was like 26. Yeah. I just assumed it was the same.
No, because I've seen games that have been exactly the same price on both, on launch. So on the actual storefronts themselves, it is what it is. Cool, that's been quite interesting. So now we know why Peebs is now a PS fanboy. You're going to have to rip that Xbox tattoo off his arm and get him a PlayStation one with Stunty.
Nice.
It is a nice console, though, the PS5. It feels like it's a new console, whereas the series just feels like another iteration of Xbox One. I think it's because it's the dashboard's
dashboard's exactly the same. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So and the controller, apart from one button, is pretty much the same. So it, like I said, it doesn't feel like a new console experience.
It doesn't. And if you recall, when we were all on the podcast talking about when we got our series consoles on launch, pretty much all of us said, "Yeah, it's exactly the same." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that excitement wasn't as pronounced as previous generations for us, because it was like I kind of compare it to getting a new phone. Like you get you get a new Android phone, right? So I upgraded a couple of years ago from a Note 9 to a 23 Ultra, and I was like, oh yeah, it's coming in the post. I turned it on and I was like, it's just another Android, because it's all the same, right? And that's what you feel like when you've got the new Xbox, because it's like, oh, the dashboard's the same, the games are the same. It's like it doesn't feel fresh.
Yeah. Also, because I set up my parents because they got 2 new phones this week, so they came round because my dad dropped his and smashed it.
Yeah.
And so he needed a new one. So obviously, Mother needed a new one as well because I can't have the same. She's got to have one. And you copy it over. It's really simple, and it puts everything over, all the pictures. Not just that, it's the same. Picture of your wallpaper, and it puts the apps in the same place.
It does. Yeah.
So it's like what the first thing I do when I get a new phone is I make sure I put a new wallpaper on it at least, and move because it, like I said, it just feels the same thing, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I think that's one of the mistakes that Microsoft have made with the Xbox. Just makes everything.
I mean, Switch 2 looks like it's got almost the same interface as the normal Switch as well.
Yeah.
Like the same sort of menu style. I think they might have changed a couple of the colours out, but it looks pretty much the same again. But I mean, it's good to have the familiarity. That's not the right word, is it?
Familiarity.
Yeah, that's the word. It's good in theory, so people don't get lost. But yeah, I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword.
I can't admit, and this is what we was talking about this. I was talking about this with Elliot in our WhatsApp group in the week because we're talking about the 360. And you remember all the different dashboards the Xbox 360 had, and they're all so different. And people still regard the Blades dashboard as the best. And
that noise when you flick between them.
Yeah, and it's like. But they changed the 360 dashboard so many times that it felt so fresh every single time, And
then the last one just felt slow and broken.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's like they used to I know when we had the Blade and then you had the big update with the avatars. But they don't seem to do big dashboard updates anymore, do they?
No.
There's a rumour that one was coming last summer and it never happened, like a big overhaul, but.
I mean, PlayStation done one, but it was like they bring that what do you call it? It's got a what do they call it? I can't remember what they really called it now, but it's like a welcome. That's it, like the welcome screen, and you can move things about on it and stuff. That was quite cool. That was an update, I think, last year.
I mean, they've got from PS4 to PS5. It's not that much different, is it? They've just moved the games a bit higher up the screen, the tiles, and moved the settings to a different bit. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like it's a complete overhaul. It's just different enough to feel different, but familiar enough to still know where everything is.
Yeah, well, they've got live animation screensaver things now.
Yeah.
What do you call them?
Didn't they bring back the different PlayStation startup things again that they had?
They're going to bring them back.
They said they were going to bring them back. I don't know if they have. I'm pretty sure they said that the next update they were bringing them back, so you could choose what one you wanted to start up with again.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, mate.
I was just going to say a little thing like I know I mentioned it. I think last time when I bought the Pro. Is when you can see when you go to your friends list and you can see whether they're on the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 5. I was annoyed that there wasn't an icon for the Pro and also for the Portal. It'd be nice to see if someone's on a Portal.
Yeah, I think
tell what actual iteration of console they're on. So yeah, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Pro, and the Portal.
Do you think like both systems, just if we think back to the 360 and PS3, sorry, just very briefly. I know we talk about the Xbox because that was our main console, but the PS3 was also a very social system in regards to PlayStation Home. Remember that? You had that, you go into that space and walk around and play pool with people and stuff like that. With the Xbox, and this made me laugh. Obviously, we talked briefly about the avatars. I never switched over to the new stupid Xbone avatars, and I've actually got rid of them in January, didn't they? But they kept the Xbox 360 avatars. I think, they were so well designed, but also it made the console more social as well because you could see what dress them up and see what your friends have got on and stuff like that. I feel that's something that's been lost in later consoles, just that social aspect of the gaming. game chats kind of lost. Obviously, we've got party chats, but those kind of games that are just more casual and just social, like Uno and I say PlayStation Home and various other 1 versus 100. It like consoles have gone less. That 360 PS3 generation, mainly the 360, it felt more of a you're in like a little club, a little community, and that you felt part of something. And I think you felt that with the PS3 as well. You had your PS3 community, and and it was a great time. Especially Microsoft were pushing the boundary so hard with that. They had Major Nelson and they had the Xbox podcast, and and then as times moved on, like there's none of that community feel with either system anymore. And I think that's quite sad. And I think that's what's drawn less engagement from people as well, to be honest. But yes.
Yeah.
I think the PS5, though, when I do turn it on the rare occasion these days, I'm just busy, I do get more of that Xbox 360 feeling when I'm just on the dashboard, if that makes sense, because it's just very clean and simple. And you've got your little
come over and
groups.
Join us, Webby.
Mate, it's downstairs. I do turn it on from time to time, but I just refuse to pay for PS Plus and Xbox Live because I pay for 2 Game Pass Ultimates a month. That that's a lot of money because I've got my own and I've got Marcus's, and because there's me, the wife, and my 2 kids. We've all got our own gamer tags, and we do the family sharing between the consoles. But you need someone on a home console to have the Ultimate, right? So I need 2 gamer tags with Ultimate. So if I'm paying for that plus PS5 plus or whatever it's called, that's a lot. It's a lot of dosh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It mounts up, doesn't it?
It does indeed. So, but no, I mean, I'm not going to knock the PlayStation. I think it's a great console. So, I just don't have on a personal, I just don't have the time as well to play all these systems anymore. So yeah. Anyway, shall we get into some games we've played this week? I don't think we're going to be able to talk about every game we've all played. I'm going to cut mine down quite heavily, I think.
I haven't played many. I haven't played many at all, really. I've just sort of touched on a few, and I've actually resubscribed my Microsoft Xbox Ultimate.
No way.
Yes, I have.
That's crazy.
I'll start. Shall I start by talking about a couple of games I've played first, though, on the dark side, on the PS5 side?
Boo! Yeah, go for it, mate.
I picked up a copy of Stellar Blade.
Oh yes.
Mainly because I saw it pre-owned in my local CEX, and I had a load of games that I didn't play. Mainly because they're now on PS Plus. So I traded in my disc of RoboCop and my disc of God of War Ragnarok, because they're both on PS Plus now, and I got a copy of Stellar Blade for £7.
Nice.
Nice, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played it enormously because, as I was telling you, I was kind of planned for a big old gaming weekend, and I've been really unwell this weekend. But I've put kind of 3 hours into it. Have you played it, Webby?
I've played the demo, which I enjoyed, but I'm waiting for it to hit PC. I believe it's coming out on PC June or July. Something. Is it June? I'm pretty sure it's June.
Something, I think so.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it for PC anyway because it'll be cheaper.
It's about a year. I think it came out the end of April last year, so it's just over a year old now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've put about 3 and a bit hours into it, and I guess I'm kind of 3 zones past where the demo was.
Right. You put a little bit of time into it then.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it feels almost a lot of the time, it almost has a feel of like Dark Souls in a way. Because what happens is when you find encampments and you rest to recharge your health, basically it kind of repopulates all the bad guys in the area that you're in.
Very Dark Souls-esque.
Yeah, so once you kind of have to be a little bit canny with how you go about it. I mean, I've sort of been playing, and I am playing on one of the easier skill levels because I do find parrying and dodging in these games phenomenally difficult. I don't know if it's my old man reflexes, but no, it's a very pretty game. And I believe that if you're playing it, I think especially if you're playing it on the Pro, if you play this game in high resolution or whatever they call it mode, fidelity mode, it has a hard crash in it. If you go into photo mode, which I've had happen at least 4 times on my copy of it as well. So I was going to have a look at, some virtual boobies, and it just kicks you straight to the desktop. So be aware of that.
You're going to have to look at some real ones instead then.
Yeah, where do I get them from?
Pornhub.
But no, it's a very pretty game. The combat does feel quite good. I mean, I played the demo and was kind of a little bit 50-50 on it. I don't know if it's because I'm playing the full game and I've knocked the difficulty down or what, but the balance felt very slightly more forgiving, and I was able to get through the boss a lot more easily.
Okay.
Not so much that I kind of steamrolled it in, but on the demo, I found that boss at the top of the car park really, really hard. It took me about 5 or 6 goes to even kind of pin down his sort of attack patterns.
Yeah.
But the character designs also feel very Dark Soulsy. Some of the characters are very weird and disturbing and very sort of odd shaped with with 2 heads and teeth, and it's just some of it is really kind of like that Japanese sort of horror kind of design almost that you get in something like a Dark Souls.
Right.
But no, it's an interesting game, and I think it's this developer's first game, isn't it? I think they said.
Oh wow! Okay, I don't know who the developer is.
Yeah, so I mean, I think they're a Korean developer, and they mainly did sort of mobile phone games before this because this runs in, I think it's Unreal Engine. But would I pay over 50 quid for this? Maybe not. I mean, I'm going to stick with it and see how much further I get. But it sort of feels very, very slight. It has a very, very slightly different flavour to what you get after you played the demo, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
So it does have a little bit more going for it than maybe you would think from the demo, perhaps.
Nice.
But no, like I say, I'm not really massively far into it. Only about 3 and a bit hours, but I am going to go back to it once I'm back to full strength and got some gaming time.
Sweet. Nice one, mate. Good to hear.
Cool.
Thank you very much. Nick?
Oh, it was Peebs next. I was last.
Oh, and Peebs, Graham, you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he talked about Forza, didn't he? Huh.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so I'll talk about a game. I don't know if you probably want to jump in, Webby. I don't know if you finished it. Claire Obscure, 33. I played it for about 3-4 hours.
Oh, is that it? You're right at the beginning, mate.
But, no, I'm right at the end. I don't want to play it anymore. No, I've got a bit frustrated and annoyed with it, to be honest.
Okay.
Like I said, I mean, you sold it quite highly. And I was like, ooh,
the whole Discord has, mate. You look at the RPG chat in the Discord, and not a negative word has been said about this game.
Mm-hmm.
Until you show up and talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm good.
So
no,
I am not impressed, mate.
You're not impressed. I haven't even said why. That's the problem. I mean, there's only 2 things, really.
Yeah.
Like I say, first thing, the music is great. The combat is pretty decent, like, old school. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll get better. I'm not a lover of the whole dodge parry thing. It's a good idea in principle, but
is it because you're really shit at it?
Let me finish. Every enemy has different attacks, and some of them do the thing where they'll look like they'll attack and they'll jump, and I thought, oh, he's doing a jump attack like he did before, and then you press dodge or parry, and then he just lands next to you and then attacks you when you come back. So it's like they've deliberately done that. So, you know, so, I mean, I don't know if I missed something, whether I'm supposed to listen for like a cue or something to attack. But then I suppose if it was too easy to dodge or parry, you could just never get hit, couldn't you?
Yeah,
so that's what I'm thinking, possibly. But I don't know how important that's going to be later on in the game, where some people who I've watched stream this have said you have to parry, if not you won't complete the game. You have to get good at it, which I don't know, because you completed the game, Webby. Did you get really good at dodging and parrying?
Okay, so this is what... Yes, but there's a prerequisite to this. The combat I loved, and that's because I've always enjoyed an RPG with turn-based combat, but obviously the whole turn-based thing, you know, people have found that combat has gotten a bit stale now. Some people don't like it, you know. That was really made, like a lot of people say, that was made for games in the 80s and 90s, get with the times. I loved this addition to the traditional turn-based combat because, one, it keeps you engaged. So you're not just pressing a button and sitting there and waiting for all the attacks to happen. You're having to keep on watching the screen because you can obviously do more damage when you're doing the attacking with your moves. And then obviously when you're getting attacked, it's dodge or parry. Now, I think they've been very clever with the battle mechanic in this game because, yes, it is turn-based with some button pressing in, but I would compare it more towards a Dark Souls in regards to the combat, because what I found myself having to do was I learned the different types of enemies and areas, and then what I would do is, because basically you get more of an area to press the button, an allowance to press the button when you're dodging compared to parrying. Parrying, you got to be spot on with your button press. So what I would do is I would learn the move set of the characters just by simply doing full fights, just dodging them, you know, and I just take my time. And then once it twigged in my mind, okay, I kind of know what move he's doing here, I know when to press the parry, that's when I would start incorporating the parrying into those fights. And that's how I got good at the game and how I, you know, did like some hardcore leveling and things like that, right? And I loved that part of the game because it's not just that. It's when you're in an area, it has... There's flags, right? So it's very much the Dark Souls bonfire. You rest at a flag, you get all your health and potions or whatever back, but then all the enemies in that area will respawn. So then you know the enemies as well anyway. So then you're going back in and then you're like, right, I can do these fights quicker now because I can parry. I'm more powered up. I maybe have gone back to camp and upgraded some weapons as well or whatever, you know. So then you can get through those areas a lot quicker. I found this battle system very, very deep because once you learn how to master it, it's fucking amazing. You know, I went through so many battles not getting hit once, just dodging, fucking getting through, like, yeah, you know what I mean? I got good at the game, you know, and it's very hard to master. I get that, right? But once it twigs, man, you're just gonna have a much better time with this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting close. It's just like I feel like I get it, and then I get up to I think there was a boss which took me a good hour and a bit. It's the one I posted about in the Discord, and I'm like, why won't nothing will do any damage? Nothing will work on this guy. And then I even looked up like a few times like a tutorial and they were saying I saw this was a big guy with like a big wooden shield, and they're like, "Oh, shoot the shield, and then he'll duck back, and then you can shoot his shoulder, and then you'll do damage." And he just wouldn't do it for some reason. I must have spent a good hour or so on that one boss to the point where I thought I might have enough at this. And then the next time I went, I'm going to beat him in 2 minutes without hardly trying. I don't know why.
That's gaming, mate. It's probably because you're frustrated.
It's just like a few people have said, which as well. I mean, you said you put it back down to easy, and I don't know. Maybe they will. I know it's a small development team. The majority of people have said that it is too hard for how they've worded. It's story mode. And it says, if you just want a laid-back experience. I'm like,
if Webby's completed it can't be that hard.
No, Marcus today.
You're just being a Nubenstein.
It is hard. No, I do agree with you. It is hard because I put it down.
I'm not saying it's. I'm just saying, story mode should basically, from what it says an easy laid-back experience where you don't have to even try that much, just enjoy the story. Well, it's not.
It's not because
I completely agree, because there was the same with the Ragnarok God of War. Yeah. You put it on, it says put it on story mode, and I was going for the platinum, and I can't kill the Berserker boss. It's ridiculous, and it's supposed to be on story mode.
Yeah. It's only probably, I would say it's probably normal, hard, and then whatever hard, but that's what it is. But the other thing that has really annoyed me, and it's becoming a habit of me, there's no fucking mini-map, Webby, and no waypoints. I keep getting lost.
Well, okay, so we did have this discussion briefly in the WhatsApp, I believe.
Yeah.
That when I started playing the game, I felt the same. I was thinking, oh, shit, like, there's no mini... Like, obviously, when you get onto the world map, you get waypoints and where to go next, right? But when you're in the areas, there is nothing. It took me a while to get used to it because I was getting a little bit annoyed, like, I don't know where to go. I don't, But then, after a little while, I just went into kind of old school JRPG mode in my mind, like, and this is why I think I love this game so much as well. It really, a lot of the elements of this game remind me of playing like a classic Final Fantasy game, and what I mean by that is you'll get into these areas on the map. There's no mini map or anything like that, and you just explore and you just get to where you need to go once you're there.
I kind of agree. But I never got lost playing. I played the same Final Fantasy games as you. It's just, like I said, there was a couple of bits. Like, the bit I've got to now where I've just got this big fat teddy bear thing that goes around the world map and smashes the rocks and swims. That's what I've just got to. So I got to this area and talked to him, and he disappeared.
What Esquia is called.
Whatever his name is. Big fat blob man.
Yeah.
Right. And so I thought, okay, it's him. And I'm like, well, where do I go now? And I'm walking round around this place and nothing's happening. And I'm like, I'm just walking around in circles here. I had to leave, but it didn't tell me I had to leave. You just press like the Y button and it just gives you a brief, go here. And I'm like, I don't know where that is, and I'm just saying. And also when I got to the village of the little wooden puppets, that said, and I was doing this on the stream, it was like, find the chief. And I'm like, where the fuck is he? I couldn't, and I was going around, honestly, mate, for half an hour, and I even looked online, and I still couldn't find him, because all it said online was, it's in the house next to the sign that says his name. And I'm like, I'm right here, and my chat was like, where the fuck is it? And the house next to the sign, it wasn't that house, it was up and round the corner, so it wasn't next to the sign. And all I'm saying is, mate, I don't want to spend the majority of the game being lost. And I know, like, sometimes you get glued to the mini-map and you're not appreciating where you're going sometimes, but the same with Alan Wake. Put that option in there for, accessibilities. If you don't want the mini-map, don't have it, because we had this in the RPGs JRPGs on PS2, didn't we, Webby? You could turn the minimap up if you wanted. So I just don't know why they've not. And like I'm saying, that's what a few people have said. I just don't know why they haven't put it in. I just think it's a minority of people on Kotaku and IGN complaining about the hand holding, and now they've just gone too far the other way.
Well, I don't know, mate, because I didn't really have all these issues that you're talking about. I don't know why. I just blast. I mean, I didn't say blasted through the game. There was literally the only game I played for a week or so until I finished it, and I really made an effort to read all the dialogue, listen to the dialogue, whatever. I knew where I was going. I just went.
How long did it take, Webby?
38 hours it took me.
I mean, I'm looking on the Twitch, and it looks really nice game, graphic-wise.
Oh, it looks nice. There's a couple of settings which I turned off, in accessibility, which puts all bloom and motion blur and film grain. I just turn all that shit off because it makes the game look blurry when it doesn't need to look blurry.
Yeah.
If you play it. But the first 2 hours, Webby, I was loving this game. The first and the story, I'm like, wow, they went there really quickly. There's not many, I suppose, other than the first few hours of Ni no Kuni, nothing really hit that hard early on. And I'm like, right, I'm invested. I need to fix this. I know it's a video game, but right, I've got it. I'm there. Because some of the Final Fantasy games can get really confusing, can't they?
Yeah.
JRPGs especially if you go off. I'm just saying, especially if you go off doing side quests, you sometimes.
How far in are you? Are you still on Act 1?
Probably, mate. I'm probably not even. Like I said, I just got that guy and the big fat guy.
I'm just trying to.
It's a mini map.
Right.
I mean, I've played about 4 or 5 hours, but I must have spent at least an hour just walking around lost completely. Because, like I said, mate, I don't. I just don't know if I'm finished in that area. Why not just transport me back to the mini-map, to the main world? It's just, I know it's just a gripe, but that's stopping me from enjoying the game. So I haven't played it for a week. I've gone on to a different game because it was just frustrating me a bit.
That's fair enough. I mean, for me, obviously, I love my RPGs.
Yeah, I do as well.
I couldn't put this game down.
About, I don't know if you found him. He said, you follow, they put some lamps up sometimes where you have to follow them.
Yeah, I did notice that late on in the game, actually.
Yeah, but the problem is I was following those lamps and it just got me to the end of the bit. It wasn't telling me that I had to leave the area.
Right. I think the thing is it forced me, not having the minimap, I think it forced me to explore, and I picked up loads of good loot, other bits and pieces. I proper explored the areas, leveled up more than probably what I would then... what I would have done by getting into more battles.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give it another go, and really, just right. I'm going to sit down for a few hours, 3 or 4 hours, and really try, because the first bit of the game I really did enjoy, but I just don't like walking. I think it was worse because I was streaming it on Twitch,
right?
And if you're trying to do something on Twitch and you're getting frustrated and annoyed and people are in chat, you kind of feel like an idiot.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It makes you feel like, I don't even want to, I don't even want to play it anymore, because it you feel like, I don't know if the right word, you're letting people down or something.
I know what you're saying. I mean,
when we've when we've all done it where we've struggled on a game, on a boss or something, and got, rage and quit. And like I said, normally you go back the next day and you do it first time, and that's what happened with that boss pretty much. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to give it one more go. If not, I might end up deleting it.
Well, what's quite interesting for me is the Discord in the RPG chat room has been we've all been quite engaged in discussion about this, and what's made me quite happy actually is that a few people in the Discord are really enjoying this, who aren't really traditional RPG to JRPG. I know it's not a JRPG, but kind of JRPG gamers. and they've come off they're either loving it at the minute. A couple of them have completed it, but we've been chatting, obviously, just privately in private chats on Discord, obviously, because I don't want to spoil the game. And I was chatting to D-Twin, and he was saying to me that it's one of his favourite RPGs of all time now, because I'm not going to spoil it for anyone because, you know, I'd be a bit unfair, but the story, like you say the story isn't confusing, you wait till later on, mate. It does get a little bit confusing, but there's some massive twists and turns that you will not expect. And there's actually 2 endings to the game. And when I completed the game, I watched the other ending, and I think the ending that I watched was actually the ending that I think that they should have just put in the game. I don't think they should have given the player a choice, to be honest, but that's just the only little nitpick that I have. But after I completed the game, I still felt like I didn't feel super confused, but I did still go online and read kind of an explanation, if that makes sense, just to get it a bit more clear in my mind. Because it is really fucking weird. And if and when you complete it, it'll be interesting to get your take on it. But from my point of view, I've played a lot of JRPGs, as you know, and this is definitely one of those games that's caught me by surprise in a good way, because it's probably in my top 10 RPGs of all time now, because it is that good. And it's just because it encompasses a lot of things. One, a story which is truly engaging and is not predictable at all. The graphics are absolutely stunning. The combat I loved, and I know you didn't like the lack of a mini-map, but I really enjoyed the exploration. But with the exploration, I loved the fact that it just made me feel like I was like 15 again, in a way of... I felt like I was playing Final Fantasy VII of... I've left this area and now I've got this massive world map to just explore, and then you've got the little town, you know, the towns and areas marked up on the world map, and you run into them and then you go into that area, if that makes sense. It, kind of old school in that way, but I really dug that. I thought that was really cool. And then obviously, like, this isn't a spoiler because most people have seen it and we talked about it. You get a character called Esquier who at the beginning you can ride on, and then later on, it's been in trailers anyway, so it's not a spoiler, but later on you can use them as a boat to travel the waters of the world, and then very late game to actually fly around the world map to get to other areas, etc., etc. So it has that progression of the way you travel like an old Final Fantasy game where they all do that, if that makes sense. You start off land, water, then you go to the air, and then, you know, the whole world's open to you and you can go wherever you want. And... you know, and the music is just absolutely stunning. Like, they've done such a good job with the soundtrack on this. It is phenomenal. It really, really is. And from a tiny studio of just over 30 people who broke away from Ubisoft because they were bored at Ubisoft. Yeah, made their own studio. This is the first game that they've made as a new tiny little indie studio. I think that is amazing, you know, because you look at games that have been made by hundreds or thousands of people from like an EA or a Ubisoft. They come out...
They take 5 years to make them as well.
Yeah, and they're shit. They're fucking shit. Yeah. You know, this comes out, a small studio, but you can... It's a great game, but you can feel the passion that went into making this game, and I think that's really shines through
as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
I just think that's a lot of. I mean, we've had it for the last 2 years, quite bad. A lot of these developers getting fired, and I think games like this that are doing well and are good and making money, that's making these people think, well, if these 30 odd people can make this game in say 3 years, why are we paying 1,500 people over 6, 7, 8 years to make a game that doesn't sell a quarter of that and nobody likes?
Yeah.
You know, it's good. I know it's not bad. It's bad people getting fired, but I mean, I just don't know how to. Like I said, Joby, I want to enjoy it. It feels like it's like I'm trying to eat a bowl of soup, but they've given me a fork instead of a spoon. I'm tasting it. I want to get it, put it all in me, but I can't because it just, you know, I don't want to spend time running. But I'll give it another good go, and then we'll see.
I mean, for me, I was very wary about this game because generally games that come to Game Pass on launch are just average games. And I think that as well has really surprised me that a game of this caliber has hit Game Pass on day one, because this is a game that I would have probably bought anyway, but you know, it's on the subscription service that I already pay for, so I want to play it on there. And to have such a high quality game as well on that service, I think that is also just absolutely fantastic. And I don't think it was actually a full price game anyway on the PlayStation. I think it was like 40 quid or something.
It's like 30, like 40 quid physical.
Yeah, which is good. You know,
I just think this is the type of game that the focus groups, these big corporations, have, you know, convinced themselves that people don't want. They've convinced, because that's where they see the big money. They've convinced everyone want these big live service games, and they've got to spend millions and millions on ray tracing and all this stuff to try and get the next Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto and sell 20 million copies. With them, it's like all or nothing.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it's just come out and just made them all look like idiots. So I do want to support it.
Oh yeah, it's a fantastic game.
I'll play
mate.
it this week.
Yeah.
I'll get you on a Discord call, and you can just tell me where to go.
Oh mate, yeah. I think you know, I don't want to dwell on about it for too much longer. I do see that time is ticking on, but I just want to say, you know, it is a fantastic game. One of my favourite RPGs ever now. And I think, you know, this is going to be a serious contender for Game of the Year come December as well. It is that good. And from a French developer as well. I mean, it has got a lot of French stuff in it, like some of the language and music and stuff as well, which is quite interesting. But I think, you know, it's a really good take on a JRPG style of game, you know, and big props to them for that. So yes, great game. And I think that's...
It looks like Lies of Pi. Is it similar? I mean, that was a bit of an unexpected game as well. That was on Game Pass, wasn't it?
I mean, Lies of P obviously is a Dark Souls-esque game with the battle system, right? So,
yeah.
Whereas this is a proper turn-based battle system with that added extra of the button presses for dodging, parrying. Come later, Nick, you're going to love it. You've got jumping as well, unlocks.
I've got that.
And then there's a fourth one as well. So,
wonderful.
Yeah, and then obviously
more
with the
buttons to mess up.
But I mean, I wouldn't say this is a traditional Peebs type game, but maybe give it a go, mate. If you resub to Game Pass again.
Yeah.
It is a really good game. I
like the look of it.
Yeah. Oh, it's gorgeous, mate. It's absolutely gorgeous. It really is. So, yeah. Game of the Year contender. Cool. Let's move on then. Where's my notes? They're hiding behind that YouTube video. Okay, so what game should I talk about? Okay, I'm going to talk about a playtest I was in this week. Ark Raiders.
Concord 2.
No. Have you guys heard of this Ark Raiders at all?
No.
So, I know I talked about Marathon last week, the playtest I was in, the alpha or whatever. Marathon was shite, right? For those of you that didn't listen to the Patreon episode, Marathon is shite. When it comes out, it's going to flop hard, and it's going to be the downfall of Bungie. I'm just calling that out right now. Marathon is an extraction shooter, very much like Escape from Tarkov, but a very arcadey version with really stupid graphics and really boring gameplay. Ark Raiders is another one of these types of games. A looter, you drop into a world, you loot, you shoot, and you get out. If you die on the same Marathon, if you die on the map, you lose your stuff that you've acquired. It is that gameplay loop of Tarkov. But for some reason, this Ark Raiders kind of clicked with me a little bit. And I think, one, it's in third person, and it's very much in the style of The Division. If you ever played The Division, like that whole kind of over the shoulder, your guys running like the whole backpacker swinging, like the graphics are very similar to The Division. And it's just like the world setting, obviously it's the same. I don't know how many maps they're going to have or anything like that, but the setting was quite vibrant, quite large, and it's just kind of a weird variation of, instead of getting extracted like by a chopper or something like that, there's these elevators, and you got to like, basically you get your loot or whatever, but then you get to the elevator and you press the button and it's like making loads of noise going, brr, brr, and so everyone's aware, so then you got to kind of camp it out and hope that no one comes. Obviously, I was going to say some drones come and get you. But it seems it's pretty all right. I quite like it. I'm not sure if it's going to, when it comes out, if it's going to be paid for or free to play or whatever, I don't know. But for one of those type of Tarkov type games, I thought it was quite interesting. I quite enjoyed it. I don't think I'd buy it, though, to be honest, just because that whole gameplay loop I do get bored of quite quickly. But for those couple of hours I played, I did enjoy it, to be quite honest. And I think if you had a group of friends to play it with, I think obviously that would increase your experience quite a bit. But as a solo player, I do think it would be something that I would probably put down after a couple of days or whatever. But as I say, it's quite fun. It's quite interesting. I don't know what the release date is, but it's really, really nice to get into the playtest. Big shout out to Wes for hooking me up with the key for it. Wes is really loving this more than me. I mean, I'm enjoying it, but these type of games, I do struggle to see the longevity, because it is that same gameplay loop over and over again. And I know, obviously, you do get that adrenaline rush when you're playing sometimes when you're in a battle, because you're like, shit, if I die, I'm going to lose all this cool loot I picked up, and I'm going to lose my gun, which I've spent ages, loading out how I want it with all the, different scope and shit like that. So I can see that aspect of it, but I don't know, man. I had fun, don't get me wrong, but these type of games, just for me, on a personal level, don't hold my attention for too long. But no, it was really good to get into the playtest on that, though, to be honest. So, yeah, Ark Raiders. And I will say, what I mentioned Marathon is because it's a very similar game, be it first person, but, this really outshines Marathon, and it is a little bit disheartening to me, because obviously Bungie is this, massive renowned studio that make the creators of Halo, for fuck's sake, and Destiny, and they can't even compete with a little indie game like this anymore. And that's just, for me, shows the downfall of Bungie under PlayStation's kind of leadership. And I think out of the two, I think this is going to perform much better in sales and numbers of players playing the game.
I just think all these big devs from years ago, Webby, like say, all these people, Ubisoft went off and made that game, and do you just think all the good people that were good at making games have just left, and that's why the games aren't as good?
Yeah, I think these devs are just in name only now. You've had the good creators, the good devs have made the games, they've made the brand what it is, but then they've all left. They've either retired or gone into different avenues of work or created different studios now, right?
So all the suits are just telling them to do what they don't want to do. I would say, the good developers, they're artists, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
If they're going to tell them, if they're going to compromise, their artistic whatever, and they've got options of going elsewhere, because it's not like they're going to be millionaires at Bungie and going off doing their own thing, and they're going to be poor, are they?
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, Artgrade is fun. I will give it that, and I'm quite interested to see what the future holds for it, and if they can get a game out there that does hold people's attention. Because other games with gameplay loops like this have done well. You look at Tarkov, that's kind of and you look at PUBG in that territory of games. Those battle royale games, that's still going strong on PC, so, and that's the same similar, that is a loop as well. So
I mean, the game looks like a cross between, like say, PUBG and Fortnite.
Yeah, it has the dancing, which I know Peebs loves. So yeah,
no.
Mate, Peebs, there's dancing in COD now, isn't there?
Well, it's going that way, yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about it now, because I finished talking about this. I reinstalled Call of Duty, Peeps, yesterday. Yeah. I played one game and turned it off again today. I was just flabbergasted, if that is my word of the day. They have 2 game modes dedicated to cannabis. What the fuck? Like, seriously, right? I'm not being an old man here, right? It just feels like those sort of things are just very immature. Yeah, I know it's a video game, but it's just like, is Activision just aiming Call of Duty at stoners now? Because you've got 2 game modes just aimed at weed. And you got that new character, what's his name in it now, with a weed suit on? What's his name?
Seth Rogen, is it?
Seth Rogen, yeah. And it's like...
Oh, not him.
Yes.
No, I don't like him either.
Yeah.
There's a whole little mini Game Pass, mini Battle Pass dedicated to him, and a lot of character and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I've played a bit of it today, but only the Warzone version. I don't know if did you play the multiplayer, Webby?
Yeah.
I played the Warzone version, and there's a couple of quite good modes actually. But yeah, it's all, I didn't really pay much attention to the weed bit. But yeah, it's all very vibrant and colourful, and you pick up these perks and stuff. But yeah, I think they've had a similar game mode before in the past, like not dedicated, but based on like weed and stuff and getting high. But yeah,
it just seems a bit strange to be like pushing illegal drugs in most countries in a video game as popular as this. Is just, I don't know, I just find it a bit strange, because I got Jane, Silent Bob in it as well, haven't they? Yeah.
Sorry, they're all right.
Yeah,
them two are all right. I know what you mean with that though, Webby. I know in a lot of places in America they've legalized it, but it's still over here. It's like,
yeah. I just, and it, and I still enjoy a game of COD every now and again because I love the gameplay, but it's just, I went I've sometimes, like last week I went back and played a little bit of Modern Warfare remastered, right? And just the whole, it's just, you go back to those older CODs from like the 360 era and stuff, and it's like, I know it's an arcadey game, but you get that it's more of it's a military vibe, if that makes sense. All the skins are military, the gameplay's a little bit slower, it just feels like an actual, like, an army game, if that makes sense. Whereas COD now
they've definitely gone more down the casual route, in like the Fortnite type skins and animations and things. But the problem is like it or hate it, Call of Duty is still probably for me the best. Like for gameplay and the mechanics and the shooting, it's still just up there. But it's the best. That's the hard thing. If it wasn't so good and all these things came out, you probably wouldn't play it. But it is still for me the best shooter.
Oh, yeah, because
even the single players,
I mean, Battlefield came close, but then they started pissing about, trying always online, no single player, and battle passes, and just I know COD do it now, but they just do it worse than COD, didn't they?
I mean, back in the day, Xbox 360 and One, me, Peebs, Colin, and a few others, we were on Battlefield 3 and 4 a lot, weren't we?
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying they went sort of
shit
away. I mean, when was the last time? What was the latest one? 2042 or something? 24? I don't know what.
2042 is good now, but it launched so shit that no one's gone back to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But no, I just wanted to have a moan about that because I was just like, oh. But they have brought the old Warzone map back, haven't they? Which I've not been back on yet, but
yeah, the Verdansk, yeah,
which is cool. But no, you're right. Especially on console, there's nothing. I say on PC as well. Actually, just in general, there's nothing similar to it, is there? And I think that is.
Well, no, and don't forget Christmas time when it came out, when we was playing with Rubbish Username, we was having really good fun on it.
We were, yes, 100% agree.
So, and I just think perhaps you're just a bit. We played it for so much, probably just burnt out a little bit on it now.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, back to you, Peebs.
Well, obviously, last time I was talking about my Portal, and I was trying to find some smaller type games that I could play on it. Rather than I don't want to be playing all my big AAA titles on the Portal. I want just like casual side scrollers or things like that. So I was looking at the PS Plus Pass or whatever they want to call it, the game catalogue. Just to find out what I could play, and I found a little game called Killer Frequency. I don't know if anyone's heard about it.
I've heard of it, but I've never played it.
And it's I don't know, it's hard to explain. But you're basically this DJ in a radio station, and you sat at like the DJ booth. And you're like playing some records and stuff, but then there's like this killer on the loose, and these people are ringing up, asking for help, and you're sort of having to guide them to save their lives. So there's like little clues you have to do. You have to get up out of your chair and explore the offices of where you work to find clues to help. Stuff like that. It's very, I would say, quite basic. But when I first put it on, I thought, I'm not sure about this. I was going to turn it off, but I sort of persevered with it, and I actually quite liked it in the end.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, sort of instead of like the shell shaded type graphics. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Finished it. So yeah, I'd recommend it. It's on I don't know if it's on Xbox, I'd imagine. I think it's on their Game Pass though, but it's on the PS Plus, and yeah, I really liked it. But yeah, it's like there's like a mass murderer or like a serial killer on the loose, so all these people are ringing up and asking for help, and you've got to try and guide them through. But you can like get them killed, like there's a trophy for saving everyone. But yeah, depending on your decisions, whether they survive or not. But yeah, it's only like a 5 or 6 hour game. It's a little game for, like I say, it was ideal for the Portal.
Nice.
But yeah, there'd be no drama playing it on your console either, on the main telly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
Nice. Cool, man. Yeah, I've just looked on Xbox. It's £21.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's probably a bit steep, I would say.
It's been out since 2023 as well.
I wouldn't pay more than 10, 15 for it, I would have thought.
Rated T for teen.
It's £7 and 13p on Steam.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Yeah. Cool, man. Yeah, looks interesting.
Yeah, it's probably something I wouldn't have tried, but only because of the Portal. But yeah, I'm glad I played it. It was quite good.
Nice, mate. Yeah, looks cool. Nice one. Cool. Who was it? Graham next?
It was, yeah. Sorry, excuse me. I haven't played a heck of a lot more, but I will talk about. I did pick up because it came onto PS Plus. Arcade Paradise.
Oh, what a game!
And also, the VR version is actually been included as well.
I didn't know there was a VR version. Oh, wow.
I didn't know there was a VR version either. But if you're one of the 10 people who have got PS Plus Premium and a PSVR 2, you can play this game entirely in first person.
That is so cool.
Just little things like the mini game where you're throwing the rubbish into the bin. It's sort of on a sort of like a up and down timer, and you have to stop it in the right zone to get it to go into the bin.
Yeah.
Whereas in VR, you actually have to throw it yourself using your arm.
Yeah.
So it feels like they have very slightly upgraded the graphics for this version. Everything looks a little bit less kind of 16-bit, but it sort of takes a little bit, because I find playing the sort of the flat screen version, it takes you out of it sort of breaks the immersion a bit, because you're just pushing buttons to put like the washing into the drum. If people don't know this game, you start off managing a laundrette, but you basically have arcade machines in the back, and the idea is to increase your profit, get more arcade machines, and make more profit. So it's one of those. But the twist is that you can actually play the arcade games once you've bought them and put them into your arcade. So it's sort of 50-50 between almost like a job simulator and an arcade simulator. It's a bit of a weird mix. And I had played this previously at a friend's house, I think, and I thought, I'm quite interested in this. I'm not entirely sure where I kind of come down on this particular game, but I was interested to see that it was on there, so I gave it a bit of a try. And if you have an interest, like I say, and you've got a PlayStation, you can play it flat screen or VR, whichever you fancy, really.
Yeah, I've put a lot of hours into this game.
Yeah, I did. I completed it on Xbox.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. It did get a bit repetitive, but
it's one of those where I wasn't sure if I wanted to pay money to try it, but because it was on the subscription, I thought I'd give it a go.
Yeah, I've seen it on the PS Plus, but I don't think I'd play it again.
No, you wouldn't.
I really enjoyed it, and obviously people of a certain age who enjoy all the retro stuff, and it's like building your own arcade and stuff, and there's like other tasks to do, but it did start to get repetitive, like picking all the rubbish up in the laundrette, and
I just wish you could hire.
But
just wish you could hire staff to do the menial tasks for you, really. But maybe that'll be in the follow-up. Who knows?
Yeah.
And again, the only other thing that I have vaguely touched on is, like I said to you, is I did resub to Xbox because I was tempted to give Claire Obscure a try. Not being my sort of game, but I've had nothing but problems with the remote streaming. I don't know why.
Okay.
Before I had problems where it would take ages to load the game. Now it's loading whatever I because obviously I'm playing on an Xbox One S, not a Series S. So my Xbox is seriously old. So obviously with a lot of games, it wants to stream it remotely from the cloud.
Yeah.
and I've got the Xbox is reading a speed of over 100 megabits download, and I think you only need 10 or 20 to run the subscription, and it's unplayable. I don't know why. I've tried swapping cables around. I mean, it's literally running at 3 frames a second.
It's the future.
I think it's because there's so many people playing it, possibly.
Maybe, I don't know. But it's one of those where I am going to kind of... Well, the thing is I've got the subscription because Doom comes out in about another week. Is it like May the 12th it comes out or something? And I was tempted to give it a try on Xbox just to see what it's like before I make a decision if I sort of buy it somewhere. Do you know what I mean? I just wanted to kind of do a bit of a try before you buy, but at the minute, it's looking like it might be completely unplayable when it launches on the service anyway. So I am going to go back and see if I can find out what the problem is that's causing my slow connection speed, and just see whether I can kind of dive in and give a few of the Game Pass games a bit of love, maybe.
Yeah, mate, there's plenty of good games on there. I seriously, though, if I was you, mate, I would probably try and find some cash to just buy a Series X, because they're putting the prices up, aren't they? Which we'll touch on in the news. So like, now is the time.
There's loads on Facebook Marketplace people are getting rid of.
There you go.
You'll get one for like less than 200 probably.
But my question is, following back on from what we were saying earlier, if all the Xbox games, the big ones, are coming to PlayStation, why would you buy an Xbox?
Well, get yourself a PS5 Pro then, mate.
Because you want to get one now. You don't want to wait. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be day and date, but like I say, Forza's what, 3 years old?
Something like that. Can't really remember the release date.
Yeah, so anyway, it all remains a possibility, but I'm going to run it for a bit and see how it goes. Try a few games. I mean, it's what I used to do before. I'd sort of have both services. I'd try a game on Xbox and see whether I liked it. And then if I liked it, I'd kind of go ahead and buy the disc and play it even if it was on another platform.
Yeah.
So I'd kind of use it as a try before you buy service.
Right.
But no, I do intend to try and dive in and give some of those new Xbox releases, maybe even go and have a look at things like Atomfall, maybe. Just
Atom Balls.
And just see if I like any of them, really.
Cool.
Yeah, but that's pretty much all I've played, really.
Thank you very much. To you, Nick.
Yeah, basically, I haven't played, other than those games, I haven't played much on consoles because I bought a new toy last weekend. I bought a MetaQuest 3 VR.
Ooh.
So I finally went for it because I was like humming between that and the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 5 VR. And I think this one's a little bit more money, but it's wireless. So I was like, and it's a little bit, but I think it's one of those where the resolution's slightly better on the Meta, but you get OLED on this. But I don't know, I just didn't really want, for the main stuff I was going to do on it, I didn't want wired.
Right.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it was at 470 quid, but then I've gone and spent probably about another 70, 80 quid on it because I've bought, a case for 20 quid, which I wasn't going to buy the official Meta one for like 60, 70, so I bought a case when I bought it from Smith's, and I bought a head strap with it as well, because the one it comes with is, pretty crap. It's just like a bit of elastic. So when I'm swapping it with the girlfriend, it's like you have to fiddle with it quite so to get it, because I've got a big old head and she's got a small head. So it's like when we're just like swapping and changing, it could take like 2 minutes to get it right, and then it just doesn't fit. But I bought one that's a Kiwi something boost. Well, it comes with a battery as well, so it like doubles the battery life, so you get about 4 or 5 hours compared to around 2 normally, which is quite nice.
Okay.
But it's got like, the difference is you can charge both through one port, and you just put it on your head and you twist like a little wheel, and it just pulls it tight as well. But it makes it more heavier, but it's more balanced. Whereas before with the strap, which like Webby sees, it sort of pinched, like, fall down on your nose at a funny angle. It was hard to get it just right, but, you know, that's fun. And I'll just go through the games I've been playing. Obviously, because I said before, when I played on my mate's PlayStation 1 VR, so I've been playing Beat Saber quite a lot. Because it's just a fun game, because I completely missed out on the whole Guitar Hero thing. Like, I never played Guitar Hero at all, or any of those type of, you know, rhythm games. And that's, I've been playing a lot of that, which is fun. I mean, it looks so much crisper than the PS1 bit, which it should do, you know, with two 4K lenses and stuff like that. And the controllers, I mean, they're quite nice, the little the Quest whatever controllers. You know, I mean, I've been playing, hammering it, and they're still on 100% each battery. So I think the battery life, you get nearly 100 hours on a battery.
Oh, that's really good.
Which is really good. The only difference is it's got a very similar to PlayStation 5. It's got, you know, that haptic feedback.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it, like, different parts of the controller vibrate and click, similar to PS5.
That's pretty good.
Whereas, which was on the PlayStation Move ones, like from the PS3, you know, the light up dildos.
Oh, yeah.
Those weren't nowhere near as accurate as what these were. The only difference is the vibration on those. It was just the whole thing vibrated like mental, which is nice. Like, you know, I think it's nicer to have more vibration, but it doesn't always get the job done. That didn't come out right. I did not say that right. But yeah, so it's quite fun, and I've bought a few of the packs. So basically, the Linkin Park one and stuff like that, and I've saved some to my wish list. So I'm just going to, like, restrict myself to only, like, one a month, because you could just spend silly money on all these songs. But that's fun, and also, you know, it's because, like, you're listening to music and you're moving around a bit. So that game was fun, and a couple of other games I've played. I'll just go through them because there's one called First Encounters, which is it's like a mixed reality game. So you're sitting in, like, your living room, and it scans the whole room and go, right, where you go. And then all of a sudden, your roof just caves in, and a little, like, spaceship lands. I'm like, this is weird. And I'm going over trying to touch it. I'm like, well, obviously it's not there. And it, like, moves, like, your wall. It'll, like, hit your wall. And you're like, that's weird. And it breaks through the wall, and you look outside, and you're, like, on a desert planet or a weird planet, and you start getting attacked by loads of aliens, little fluffy ball aliens that look cute, but if they get close to you, they want to, like, bite your ankles off. And basically, both Move controllers, you get a gun out of the spaceship, so you're just shooting them. It's pretty basic, but it's just weird running around your house, and they're, like, smashing the ceilings and the walls out, and you're just shooting these things. And another one, which I forgot what it's called, very similar, but it's like a horde mode, where just, like, it's like a free-to-play one, so you'll be careful for, like, money and stuff, if I want real money. And basically it just opens a hole in your living room, and you're just shooting aliens with two guns, and, like, it's like a horde mode, you know, from Gears Horde. And after each one, you can upgrade, like, extra bullets in your gun or faster gun, or you can use the coins which they try to sell you. So it's things like that. And probably one of the best ones I've been playing, which I haven't bought the game, it's just the demo, because I don't know about paying 20 odd quid, 20, 30 quid for a full game, which was Creed Rise to Glory. It's basically the boxing game, and that is awesome, to be honest. There's a few boxing games I've added to the wish list, but this one is because I know, the Rocky Balboa Creed universe. So you just stand off, and you're like, okay, and then you look down, and you're like, wow, I'm a black dude and I've got abs. This is weird, because you play as Adonis Creed, which is pretty good.
Apollo Creed.
No, Adonis Creed. That's his son.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, Adonis Creed is his son. That's how they've got Michael B. Jordan to play.
Oh, yeah, them ones. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I think Apollo Creed is in it, but that's in the full game. You only actually get pretty much one fight in this game. I mean, I do want to get it. I just, because I've spent a lot of money on it, I'm just going to either wait for a sale and stuff like that. So you get one fight, but it does start off, it brings up like the logo, and then like the big unboxing glove comes out and it plays the Rocky music, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then you're like, you go to it, and then you're standing in a ring, and you're like, ooh, I'm in a ring, and it's still kind of cartoony graphics, not full on realism, but it feels like you're there. So you can literally like walk about left and right and just see the people like in the crowd. And I'm like, oh my God, this is, VR's starting to get, too good. And then you walk up to the character. You can't actually walk though. I don't know if there's mods because have you ever seen those mods where you like standing on like a weird treadmill? Like some of those things. I don't think it's got that. So you just hold the buttons in, and then you move your arms backwards and forwards, and it makes your character walk forward or run forward and backwards. And you stand up next to this guy, and you're like, oh, he's a big dude. And then you just like, oh, ready to go, and then knock gloves, and then you start boxing. And yeah, you just beating the shit out of this guy. And it's just very simple. Obviously, it's quite good tracking. You like hold your hands up to like block as you would. In my head, I look awesome, but my girlfriend told me I look like a fucking idiot. So, I'm like, oh, but I felt awesome. And like, I only played you play like a couple of matches, and I tell you, it's weird. Your heart rate is just going through the roof because you're not actually.
But it's good for exercise.
Oh yeah, that's one of the main reasons I've like got this. Because I thought we'll do in like some of these games, and I will get another one at the end of next month, like a full boxing one. I can't think what it's called now, but I'll talk about that when I get it. But that does that as well. But you get like boxing, exercise, and punching and stuff like that. But I think that one is augmented reality, so you could do it in your house. Because the only thing weird, about VR is you're worried. I mean, Webby's got a video of this up, and the guy just keeps touching Mr. T's bollocks. I mean, that's great. I've always wanted to touch Mr. T's bollocks, Webby. Thanks for that. But yeah, it's just fun. I mean, like I said, the motion tracking's pretty good. But I'm really enjoying it, and I've got all the head strap, and also I put like a silicone band on the faceplate because I was getting quite sweaty and stuff like that. But it's just I was thinking of buying like a second-hand one, but some of those looked quite manky.
Oh, they will do, mate. Yeah, you don't want second-hand ones of them.
Yeah, and also with this game, with this, which is always nice with the Meta Quest. I mean, the store's pretty good. There's loads of games. You can watch YouTube and Netflix, and you could just sit there, and it's just got like a massive 100-inch screen in front of you.
Yeah, and that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, and it's really getting it. I've changed it. I mean, I might get because I can wear with my glasses, but it's slightly uncomfortable. But you can get prescription lenses that go on it as well.
That's cool.
Which they're about £50, so it's not too bad actually. And I also had to do this thing. You can get your distance for your eyes, right? Like it's got a wheel underneath where you can get like the pupil between two pupils, and there's an app which you could get on Android or anything, which is really silly because you have to put like a credit card or something up on your head, and then it measures and it tells you, and it actually tells you like the number of the difference, because it wouldn't be like I'm on 66 and the girlfriend's like 62.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem a lot, but if she leaves it in my setting, it looks a little bit blurry for her and vice versa. So that's quite good. That's not on the original. You just have like 3 different settings. You can't have like from something like 60 up to 70 something.
Yeah.
And also, the best thing, one of the really good things is if you just double tap the side of the VR headset, no matter what, it uses the cameras and you just back where you are in case you get a bit disorientated or someone phones up or starts talking to you. That's pretty good. So, yeah, fingers crossed I'll just keep playing this and enjoy the game and enjoy the VR. Not like some people who say, oh, you'll have it and you'll play it for 3 months and then you'll just never play it again. But, yeah, it's really good. I'm glad. And I don't know if I'll, pay 600 quid for it, but compared to some of the, I mean, my mate's bought one, like the other one, I can't remember what one he said, but that's like $3,000.
Jesus.
And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't spend that, but I think these, like say, these are quite affordable. And also, I mean, I haven't played it yet, but it's given me the, I think the offer's finished. It gave you Batman Arkham Shadow game for nothing.
Oh, that's good.
So I've installed that, but I might probably try that this week. You know, run around pretending I'm Batman. I'll probably look like an idiot though. But
nice, mate.
You never been interested in the VR, Webby?
No, I've mentioned this quite a few times. I've bought a few Oculus headsets, and it just makes me feel sick, so I've had to send them back.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Maybe it's because, like, say, you wear glasses as well. But
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe if, like, next time, like, if there's like a meetup, I'll bring this one because obviously it's 2 4K like lenses, and it's got what they call pancake lenses on this one. So it's like got a lot bigger sweet spot. But like I said, for years I just didn't think the technology was there, and this, even like I think this is what maybe 10 years or 8 years newer than the first PSVR.
Yeah.
And it's night and day comparison.
Yeah.
Like graphics wise. And I mean, even that, when I played Resi 7 on that a few months ago when I talked about it, I played that for about half an hour sitting down, and that was making me feel a bit motion sick and a bit disoriented. This, I've probably put maybe 10, 15 hours in the last week or so and haven't felt anything.
That's good. Cool, mate.
Yeah, so that's pretty much me done.
All right. I'm not going to hold us up for too much longer then. I'm just going to talk about one other thing. I'm going to save... I need to make notes because I'll forget things. We've talked about... Sorry, just give me a second. I'm going to talk about one more thing then. I'll save these for next week. That's fine. Yeah, so the last thing I wanted to talk about from me is I've been feeling a bit like wanting some retro shit. You know what I mean? So wanting some I've got a bit of feedback there. Sorry. Yeah, so I was streaming some Xbox 360 today and playing quite a bit of Xbox 360 this past week. Old school, I know. Yeah. And I tell you what, I think it still holds up pretty well. And what's quite strange. I played quite a few different things. I just want to talk about the system as a whole, just as from a nostalgia point of view, just very briefly. Obviously, the Xbox 360 online store has been shut down on the Xbox 360 now, so it's like the actual the main menus themselves, they feel quite bare bones now because the store was such a big part of it. But the weird thing is, right, so I tested this and I've got it on my stream at the minute, is obviously the old school avatars are still there and the avatar marketplace is still live and you can still buy outfits for your avatar.
What's the point?
I know, it's so weird. Like, I was going through it and I was like, there was like Atari hats, like 79p and t-shirts and things like that. I was like, well, that's a bit strange. But what's quite
every last penny they can out of you.
Well, yeah. But what's quite interesting is when you're going through the games you own on the Xbox 360, it has a little thing underneath it, so it tells you if has a little plus sign. It says plus Xbox One, and if it has a plus Xbox One, that means it's backwards compatible with Xbox One and Series consoles. But I've got 193 games installed on my Xbox 360 hard drive. I don't think that's all the games I own on the system. But what's quite surprising to me is how many of those games are not backwards compatible, and this is one of the reasons why I have the console still plugged in. I did play a little bit of Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2 today on stream because one of the guys wanted me to watch me play, but it is actually backwards compatible, so I didn't really want to talk about it too much. Still a great game though and holds up well. I was playing some of the campaign. But some great games are not on the backwards compatible list. I played a couple of those today on the 360. One of those games was Project Gotham Racing 4. I will remember this. Originally, this game came out 2007, a long time ago. And I'll tell you what, it's still a lot of fun. It really is so much fun to play. And it's one of those classic things of a company. It was Bizarre Creations. They also made Geometry Wars. Great game. But it was one of those classic examples, one of those early examples of what was something we've seen happen many times over, of a small studio being bought out by a big studio like Microsoft, EA, or whatever. Bizarre Creations got bought out by Microsoft and then shut down. You know, lost some great talent there, right? Yeah, so I'll tell you, and it's just such a fun arcade game because it's, you know, this game has like a career mode, but has an arcade mode. And I remember playing it back in the day, and I rinsed for the arcade mode, and it was all different level, like different tracks, and you had like silver, you know, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum medals for doing different things, like different times or getting different kudos. And it was just such a fun arcade racer because it wasn't all just about racing and winning. It was all about getting those kudos points, which are basically style points of like drifting around corners or clean laps and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it was just so fun. And what was quite interesting as well, and this is something that I've noticed with Ghost Recon as well, is a lot of the games from this generation, like people ask me, "Oh, are the servers down for these games now?" And I say, "Well, no, because this was a time period where games didn't have their own servers. It was all peer to peer, which was fantastic. You know, which is great because even now, if we all loaded up our Xbox 360s, us four, I could make a lobby on Project Gotham and we could all still play it, which would be great. No one is playing it though. Wow. on a bank holiday Monday afternoon, because I tried to find a lobby on Project Gotham and Ghost Recon and on whatever game I play on Blur, and there was no one playing it. Yeah, and I'll talk about Blur in a minute. So yes, we love our older games, but obviously not many people are playing these games. Another game I did play this past week, though, before I mentioned Blur, was Split Second, and there is still people playing that online, and that is another... But that is a game, that is backwards compatible. So if you own it digitally, you can download it onto your Series X and play it online, and there's still people playing that, because I played it the other evening. But because a lot of these games are not like... So this is not backwards compatible, which is probably one of the reasons why there's no other people playing it that I could find. But interestingly enough, like I was saying before, that when I was playing Graw 2 a few months ago in an evening, I was finding games. But this past week, I've tried it a couple of times and not found a game at all. So I don't think there is many people still playing these games. I've, very few and far between. But, the thing I'm trying to get to or saying is, in a long-winded way, is there is still a reason for you to have an Xbox 360 plugged into your TV if you have a significant library of games, because there is still quite a lot of those games that are not backwards compatible. So another one of those games is Blur. And I remember this, it's like Mario Kart, but with real cars. And again, this game came out in 2010, I believe, so 15 years ago. That makes me feel so old. But it still looks really good. Like, it still holds up pretty well. Like, this is what a game would look like, even like for me today, if it was like a small indie game that came out on a current console. I still think like a lot of that generation's games still hold up pretty well in the graphics department. It was very smooth to play as well, and it was just a fun arcadey type title. Yeah. And it is a game that is kind of lost to time because, again, it's only available on those older systems, so it's not backwards compatible, unfortunately, but still a great title. So going back to some of these games is just it is a nostalgia hit, but it just
some good gamer nights on Blur.
We did, Peebs. We did indeed. Yeah. But I think it was nice to go through the Xbox 360 again this afternoon. I was on it for a good few hours, played a few different games, and as I say, it did stand out to me. I did play the other day, Peeps. I thought of you. I was playing Bubble Bobble Neo, which is basically a remaster of the original Bubble Bobble. I remember you playing that a lot on the 360. That is another game that's not back compat.
Great game.
And what I found is, like, a lot of those old kind of arcadey type games never made it to the backwards compatible list, unfortunately. Like Double Dragon. There's a few games I'm just watching my stream going through, like Fez, Double Dragon, and a few others. I wonder
if that's financial.
I don't know what it is, mate. It's probably licensing, I imagine.
Probably, yeah. It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a real shame.
Yeah. So, but because of that reason, I mean, I think Microsoft have done a decent job of making games backwards compatible, but it's still, in my view, not good enough because they haven't put the whole library over, which I wish they had done. Because I've got a lot of games still on that system that I can't play on another console. And it's nice to go back and play some of those games. And one game that I did play, like the last game I played on the stream was Outrun. Remember the Outrun game on the 360? It was I believe it was like it might have been a 360 exclusive, I don't know, but it's a game that's not come out on anything else. It's called Outrun Online Arcade. And again, that's not backwards compatible, and it is regarded as one of the best Outrun games as well. So I did a little race on that, and my boy was watching me and had a really good time on that. I think what it proved to me is you don't always need the latest, greatest, flashy system to have a really good time, because the whole time I was playing my Xbox 360, it's the 20th year anniversary of the 360 this year as well. I had a smile on my face the whole time I was playing that console. It's still a great system with a great library of games, and it, as I say, it just saddens me that not all of them can be played on the later systems, unfortunately.
Can you still unlock achievements and everything on them games?
Yeah.
I suppose you can, can't you? Because you're still connected to the internet, aren't you?
Yeah.
And online.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Chivo's still unlocked, but it's just... it just makes me sad that the fact that they took the store down, because there's a vast library of games now that are lost to the ether because they can't be purchased on the later systems either. So, all those exclusive indie type games or smaller games, Xbox Live Arcade games, are just gone now. And the only way to acquire those games is through illicit means on a PC and play them on an emulator now, which is sad, because I don't think it would have cost Microsoft much to keep the store going. I really don't. So it's just I don't know. It just makes me sad.
It just wasn't the people. There wasn't enough people on it. Probably not. To it.
Probably not, mate.
Or keeping it going.
Yeah.
Also to force people onto the new one.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's old. I knew it would happen at some point, but
Well, some of those games, Webby, have actually got like what's it called? Like Xbox One ports of the same game, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
You have to buy them again, though, don't you?
Yeah, that's how it goes.
But no, it was really cool. So I'm going to keep my 360 plugged in anyway, and I'm going to be those games to play those games that aren't backwards compatible. But the ones that are, like Ghost Recon and stuff like that, I'll probably just carry on playing on the Series S, I guess. But I think, the greatest console generation ever, and it's still worth playing now. So, yeah. And there is a whole...
I wish I'd kept my R2D2 360.
I wish you had as well, mate. Like, and that's another thing missing from this gen. Like, you think about all the cool
editions.
Yeah, so I've got a Halo... I think it's a Halo Reach console. I think that's what it is. It's kind of blue, and it makes the noises when you turn it off and on, and when you open the disc tray and stuff. But yeah, I remember you having the R2D2 one, because I remember I could hear the noises down the bloody headphones when you're changing discs.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I don't know how much they go for now, but I'd imagine they're quite collectible.
If they're boxed.
Do they?
Yeah. I always wanted the Gears of War one with the red one, but a lot of them are still broken.
Yeah, because I had it was the gold C3PO controller.
Yeah, the controller was that, and the console was R2D2. And it didn't have the same, like his beeps when you turned it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So cool, man. Yeah, and it's just like, and I was up in the loft this weekend, and because I was doing some clearing out, and I've still got loads of Xbox 360 games up there in tubs, but also quite a lot of collector's editions as well, like the Songbird from BioShock, and I've got the Halo Reach, all the dudes standing on the rock, and I've got the Halo helmet, and I'm like, they just don't do stuff like this anymore. As well. Oh, so cool.
No, you don't, do you? I just think, I don't know. I mean, gaming is still a big business, but it just doesn't seem as, I don't know, they don't seem to put as much effort in like they used to. The golden age of the 360 era, the collectibles and everything, just seems to be a thing of the past.
Yeah, I don't think...
Seems to be all digital stuff, isn't it, really, now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might have killed it off,
Maybe, I mean, I don't mind.
The store now is pretty much dead.
Yep.
People used to queue up and get all the collectibles and midnight launches. That's all gone.
I used to love a midnight launch, handing out 360 Gamercast, little cards, business cards to the queue. Oh, that was so funny, man.
Did that actually ever work?
Yeah. I remember one person, I remember went to Eurogamer one year, and I was leaving stacks of business cards all over the place, but I remember I left a little stack of business cards in the toilet, and I remember someone added me as a friend on Xbox Live, and we got chatting, and he said, "Yeah, I love your podcast, Webby. Do you know how I found you?" I said, "Oh, how's that, mate?" He said, "Oh, I picked up one of your business cards from the toilet at Eurogamer."
I mean, because you do realise what normally happens if you leave business cards in the toilets.
Oh, I know, mate. But, you had to do these things back then, It's a different world now.
I remember when we got them printed, because I picked you up in my old work van, didn't I? We went to the services, and you used that machine at the services to print the load out.
Yeah, because I had a load already, but I didn't have enough. So, I had a load more done. And that machine, that was funny as... Yeah, and I've recorded a lot of it on that little camera I had, that little video camera.
Yeah.
I've still got
even things like that, like the old meetups and that don't really happen anymore, does it?
No, and I mean, we could still do a meetup, but I just don't think many people would come. And that's what kind of puts me off trying to organise something,
I mean, yeah, because you've got Alex's arcade place, which would be a good place, but it's just a bit in the middle of nowhere, isn't it?
Yeah, it is,
for a lot of people.
And you've got Arcade Club, but that's in, like, Manchester, which is, like, really up north for us anyway. I mean, it doesn't bother me too much, but again, but there's nothing kind of Midlands or even London, really, Not that I'd want to go to London, to be honest, but... Yeah, I don't know. It'd be good to do a meet up again, but I just don't know where, how many people go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, mate, to be honest.
Well, it's obviously the community changes as well. Like you posted that picture up, didn't you, on the Facebook page? And there's only me and you that are still probably in the community. Out the others, they've all just sort of fallen by the wayside.
Yeah, people drift off, people move on.
Yeah,
I upset someone.
Someone upset quite a few people over the years.
I know, mate. I know. Yeah, I don't know. It happens, mate. It happens. But no, I think it's hard because people, as I mentioned at the beginning, at the beginning of this 2-hour podcast, people have busy lives, and it is hard. Like, because I know, like, obviously, Peebs, your kids have moved out, and you had your kids quite young, but most people kind of our age-ish have got young kids, and so it's quite difficult to do things. It makes life a bit more difficult. And from my side of things, my missus, being a gamer, she wants to be involved as well. So I'm like, well, what do we do with the kids? It's just like a double-edged sword from my sort of thing. So it would have to be kind of semi-family friendly, really, because I'd have to bring my kids with me. So it'd have to be like an arcade club or something like that,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd love to do arcade club again. I haven't been for about 5 years, actually. So it's about time I went back there. Amazing. 3 floors. Got a pillow.
Is this the one is it Manchester, Bury way?
Bury, yeah, it is in Bury. So it's got like a retro, like arcade floor. It's got a floor with like modern VR stuff, modern arcades and pinball machines, and I think that it's over 3 floors. I can't quite remember what's on each floor, but yeah, it's got a mixture, like definitely at least a floor of old school arcade machines, and it's got, like, say, pinball machines, more modern things, food, beer, all that sort of stuff. So it is a good venue because it isn't that expensive. You get a whole day for like, I think it's like less than 15 quid. I can't quite remember. It wasn't expensive anyway for a whole day, because there is one in Milton Keynes, and it's about that price for like 3 or 4 hours. So, I think for a whole day that's quite good. And I remember the food was very reasonably priced as well at the venue. So I definitely would do it again. And, you could stay at, because when I went last time, I mean, I live a bit closer now because I was down in Farnborough before. It's just stayed at a travel lodge, Yeah. So if you're up for it, we could try and organise a date.
Offline and see if we organise something.
Yeah, but it would be nice. Well, I mean,
don't want to give the 4 people who go their hopes up.
Yeah, because the only other thing that we've done in the past is Eurogamer and the pub in London, but obviously those events don't happen anymore, so there's no excuse to go to London. I'm not a big fan of London anyway, so
right.
It could just be maybe a pub meet up somewhere and see who turns up. 3 or 4 people probably, but
Well, probably more than that time you did the Alton Towers meet up.
Well, one other
person turned up.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, mate. Crazy. But no, it would be nice to. Yeah, it would be nice to. I mean, me and Peebs don't even live that far from each other, really. So we need to do something at some point soon.
Oh yeah.
Now the weather's nice.
Well, it's funny because I know there was a trailer on the telly the other day of the new Final Destination film.
Yeah, it looks funny.
And do you remember we went to the cinema to see it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Perhaps we first met you, weren't it?
I think we should go to the cinema together, Peebs. Go and watch the new
Final
one.
Destination that was it 2 or 3?
Oh, I can't remember.
For years now.
Yeah. Well, I've got good cinema near me, and so I've got to all near me at Rushton
Yeah.
Lakes. So, yeah, mate. I'm going to definitely be going to cinema to watch that F1 movie in it's June. I'm not sure. Anyway, we're going well off topic. Anyway, we will try to organise a meet-up anyway. Let's try and do something this year in the summer. We'll get our heads together in the WhatsApp group and sort something out. Is there any games you guys want to talk about? Because I know time is ticking on. I know we've all got work in the morning. There's a tiny bit of news and a question that I need to do as well. So shout now if there's anything else you want to talk about before I move on to those topics.
Don't think so.
Nope.
Well, I just wanted to mention the Pinball FX.
Yes, go for it.
Well, obviously back on the 360s, we used to have some good fun on the old FX pinballs, didn't we? They had loads of tables and the online leaderboards and everything. We used to challenge. And didn't we have a community member, Galford D. Wheeler, who was like in the top 10 or something in the world?
Yeah, he was
machines.
bloody good at it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I was just searching through the store on PlayStation, and I see it on there, but there's like a newer version. So I downloaded it and been putting quite a lot of hours into it. But again, you only get so many free tables, and you have to pay for the rest. And I bought a couple of tables because it was on offer.
Is this Pinball FX or Pinball M? Because I know you were playing M as well.
Pinball M, yes. This is Pinball M, but there is a Pinball FX on there as well. But that Pinball FX on the PlayStation is a little bit dated now, I think.
Right, let me just mention this. I know what you're going to get
Pinball
to.
M.
So, Pinball FX. So we had Pinball FX 1, 2, and 3, and then last year they brought out a new Pinball FX, which people got really pissed off with because before you could transfer your tables over if you'd owned them before.
Yeah.
This one you can't. So it's not numbered. Yeah. It's basically just Pinball FX, and it's like kind of like with Forza Motorsport, they got rid of the numbers, right? It's just like their kind of hub, if that makes sense, right? So you can't put any of your tables over, but you can. All of the old tables are available on there, but there's also loads of new ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of tables.
So it's just so people are aware of what's happened there. And there is also Pinball M, which you've told me about, Peebs, which is the mature pinball, like horror tables and stuff like that.
Horror tables.
Yeah.
So that's what I downloaded first, and then I did go back to the FX. And you're right, it doesn't. Obviously, I played them on the Xbox, so they wouldn't have transferred over anyway. Well, I don't know. Could have done, couldn't they? Because if it's all done on the same account, but the M1, which is the newer version, I'm guessing. But yeah, that's horror. But there is like a Duke Nukem pinball table. It's not so much horror, but obviously more mature. But yeah, I downloaded the pack of. I think there's only 6 or 7 tables. I downloaded them all. They was on offer for like £4 or £5, so I just bought them all. But again, it's got all the online leaderboards, friend leaderboards, so you can challenge friends. It's got tournament mode. You can set up your own tournament and invite your friends. But obviously, being on the PlayStation, I've got no friends on here who have got it. So I'm putting a shout out for anyone who likes a bit of pinball to download it and get on the leaderboards.
Yeah, so
it's good. It's good fun.
So, funnily enough, I've been playing it. I've actually been playing Pinball FX this past week on my PC,
right?
Because I have all the tables.
Jim lad.
I spent. Do you know how much all those tables are if you buy them with real money? That it's over 300. I think it was like over 300 quid or something. I think it might have been even more than that.
Well, I did notice some of the packs are like 18, 20, 19, 20 quid.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of tables on there because they've got, like you say, they've got all the old ones from the old 360 ones, like the Indiana Jones, the Star Wars collections, the Marvel ones. I know there's a Princess Bride one on there. There's like a World War Z one. There's loads of tables.
Yeah. It's a lot of money. Yes, is it like 86 tables or something? I'm just trying to find something online about this. It was a lot of money though. It was at least a good few £100 minimum to buy all the tables. Anyway, yeah. So what I was going to say was I've got that on PC and I have all the tables. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, wink. And it is like graphically, it looks really nice, Peebs, and it was really cool to play those older tables. But it's good because I got all the Williams ones, I got all the Star Wars ones, and all that. It is a lot of fun. But the thing I miss is obviously I can't play my version online. It has.
Oh, right, so you're not getting the leaderboards.
So I'm not getting the leaderboards. That's something I miss because well, that is something I miss because I remember back in Pinball FX 2 more than 3, we had some good tournaments on that with the 360G. But you could port your tables from 2 to 3. So, and luckily, because it's Microsoft, I've got Pinball FX 3 on my PC as well. So all those tables are still available. The only way that we could do it, though, is because people are split onto different platforms, is maybe like tell people to take a screenshot of their high score or something, and then we could collate them together and get them in an order.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way we could do it if we were all on multiple platforms. But no, we did have a lot of fun on that for sure.
Yeah, we had a lot of community members playing that back in the day on the leaderboards and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've got my friend's leaderboard on here now, and there's just me on it.
Yeah, but
I've noticed he's downloaded it because I don't know if he still listens, but I've noticed he started to panic a little bit because I'm gaining on the old trophies. He must be going through my trophy list because he's downloading games that I've downloaded, and he's obviously there's a couple of platinums I've got lately.
That's no different though to what I was doing, or what a lot of people have Daddy Ickin on their friends list, and they just look at what he's been playing on his profile and play the same games. Because I did that when I was Chivo Horan for a little bit. But no, the good thing about the pinball games is they're just it's just chilled out, isn't it? You know, and it's just a bit of fun. As you say, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a shame the tables are so expensive. I think that's the only thing.
I think they missed a bit of a trick there. They should have let you import the tables you owned over, and then you're probably going to end up going back and playing them, and then end up probably purchasing a couple of other new ones. You know what I mean? Because you're on there.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got to buy them all again, you're just not going to do that.
No, you're just going to stick to the older version of the game, really, if you really are wanting to play them. So, yeah. Cool. Fantastic, mate. All right, shall I get into a little bit of the news?
Yeah.
Okay. So, sad news this week. Codemasters, great dev team, made some great racing games, and Operation Flashpoint back in the day as well. They have been shut down by EA. Because the WRC game that they brought out didn't sell very well. I don't think the F1 games the last year or so have been selling that well either. So I'm quite intrigued to see what's going to happen with the F1 games going forward. What team in EA is going to be making those? Because obviously Codemasters do very high quality racing titles in particular. But again, it's just another sad story of a publisher/developer being bought out by a bigger one and then fucked over after a couple of years. And EA have been notorious for this in the past. So I'm very sad to see that because Codemasters are one of the best dev teams in the world, in my opinion.
Well, and they're a great British developer as well.
Yeah.
There aren't many of them left anymore.
No, there isn't.
I remember from Codemasters back in the day, they used to do games back on the Mega Drive and stuff, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, primarily they're obviously turned to racing games, but before they used to do quite a variety of different games.
Yeah,
back
for sure.
in the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Didn't they do like the James Pond games.
Oh, James Pond. What a game.
Yeah.
Treasure Island, Dizzy, and, them sort of games. But, yeah, it's a shame.
Micro Machines. Yeah, loads of
Micro
games.
Machines, yeah. Yeah, they're great back in the day. Like I say, there aren't many great British developers anymore, and it just seems a thing now where these big American corporations just buy out all the competition and then just shut them down. It's like they just want to buy them out just to take them out of the market.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. So yeah, there's that sad bit of news. Can I just say something before I announce this bit of news that everyone already knows about? I just want to sit here and say, I told you all so. I told you so many times this past year or so, every time this game is mentioned, that it will not come out this year. And it's now been made official. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed until May the 26th next year. How many times have I said that this game is not coming out this year? Many, many times. And everyone's like, no, but they've said
50 quid it was coming out this year.
So you owe me 50 quid, Nick?
No, it was the other way around.
Oh, yeah.
I said I think it'll get delayed again until September, October and come out with a PS7.
Oh, there we go.
I was going to say, yeah, do you think they'll delay it and then wait for another console to launch with the console?
No.
I'm paraphrasing, but did you like the actual statement they put out? It was like, we're sorry it didn't come out when you expected it to. I'm like, it's not when we expected it. That's when you told us it was coming out, you twats.
Yeah.
As if we had something wrong to do with it. Maybe they're taking all the woke stuff out, Webby. Do you think that'd be nice?
Actually, funnily, you should...
it in.
Funny you should say that, because there's been quite a backlash on that sort of stuff in the last little months or 6 months or so. I've actually did see some grumblings. I wasn't going to mention this at all, but now you've made me talk about it.
Oh, well done, Nick. You started him off.
No, I did see some stuff online saying that could be one of the reasons why, because there's obviously been a backlash against that sort of content in media in general, that because Rockstar had hired like a Sweet Baby type company, and they push all the DEI stuff and that, and they weren't as cutting edge. Apparently the GTA 6 wasn't as cutting edge, like the old ones at taking the piss and being silly and stuff like that. They were quite straight laced. One of the reasons why they may have delayed it is because of that. So they're putting it, sorting that kind of stuff out and things. So it'd be interesting to see, because that's what happened to Saints Row, wasn't it? Saints Row was really wacky and silly and was a great game, and then they brought one out which was full of that woke bollocks, and it flopped like a big floppy dildo. So, we don't want to see that happen to GTA, do we? But anyway, that's just a rumour, so don't.
It's just like how you say Saints Row flopped like a big floppy dildo, yet they had a big floppy dildo bat in the game.
That's why I said it, mate. I was waiting for someone to twig.
I twigged.
Okay, next bit of news. Obviously, PlayStation talked about raising the prices of their systems and peripherals. Well, now Microsoft has done or is doing the same. There was news that Game Pass was being increased, but this bit of news from The Verge is saying that there are no Game Pass price increases, so that's quite interesting news.
I think they were saying, are they going to increase it as well? Because they didn't say one way or the other.
So this is mainly America, but it's quite interesting. So Xbox games are being increased from $70 to $80. Consoles are going up $100. So from $499 to $599.
Yeah.
Which is fucking mental. There was some UK prices in this somewhere. Yes. The Xbox Series S in the UK is £300. And the Series X is rising to £500. So, what was it, $450 before? The Series X? I can't quite remember now.
Yeah, it was $450 when it came out.
Thereabouts, yeah.
So yeah, 50 quid more. And what's weird about this is usually at this point in a console generation, because we're about halfway through now, at least, you usually see massive price cuts on consoles partway through a generation.
Yeah, because I can't understand who'd be buying a console now. If you're a gamer, you've already got... The only reason you'd be buying one now is if yours broke down or something. Who'd be buying one now? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, though, you've got kids growing up every day who want a console. So that's probably
maybe
why, you know. I mean, they were still selling, like...
Yeah.
I think the PS4 was still outselling the PS5 for a long time. But that was probably stock shortages and COVID, obviously.
But
no, these companies, they just... I don't know why people defend them on social media.
I don't get that either.
Do. It's just like, I know, Graham, people just say, oh, inflation. Like, that's a definitive argument when it's just not, especially when it comes to technology and
it's
things
greed.
like that.
Pure greed.
I'll tell you, it's because I think we're over, like, the peak of game, like towards the end of 360, beginning of PS4, and I just think people aren't buying as many games as they used to, so they're just upping the price to get it. I mean, I saw a few YouTube videos, which we know, you know, the PS5 costs them almost half as much to make as it did when it came out. You know, it's cost them half, and that's why they used to put the prices down. Just, you know, but they're putting the prices up of the console, they're putting the prices up of the games, and just blaming, you know, you got like IGN and all them sort of people, all they just keep banging on us about inflation, which doesn't make sense for video games, and the costs of development. Well, that's not our fault. I mean, you look at, like we said earlier, with 33 Webby, 30, you know, a 30-man team made this game that sold all this, yet Sony spent £400 million making a trash game like Concord and just writ it off.
Yep.
So they lost all that money and just writ it off completely. Didn't even try to make the game good, you know, and force, you know, either put it free to play, just completely writ it off, and now they're upping the prices of stuff like that. It's just... I know you say like tribalism and stuff like that, but like when we used to go at it years ago, you know, like in the schoolyard, you know, PlayStation, N64, we wouldn't go that far, would we?
No.
Do you know what I mean? We'd just be like, we'd say everything tongue-in-cheek, and, you know, you'd call him a twat, and he'd call you a prick, and then you go, well, can I come round and play N64 tonight? And he'll say, well, as long as I can come round yours and play Final Fantasy the next night.
SNES and bloody Mega Drive when I was at school,
that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing, mate. I don't think, you know, but it's just, you know, I've had this before when they talk about inflation. Well, no, because, you know, Blu-rays and DVDs cost the same, if not cheaper than they used to be, and it's just a disc and a case. You know, Blu-rays they're pretty much a tenner now, and they were 20 when they came out, went down to 15, and now 10 quid for new Blu-rays. And it's just a disc and a case, you know, and they're manufactured all over Europe, whereas it used to only be one or two places for the entire of Europe. Yeah. You know, there's probably 10 or 15 places just in the UK that I mean, we used to get them either Guernsey or Germany, didn't we, Webby? That was it. And now there's just loads of places that actually manufacture.
And the amount they destroy as well. So, a little tidbit of information, which you might find quite interesting. When I worked in the prison service, there was a load of workshops for the prisoners to work in. One of those workshops was dedicated to destroying DVDs. So you get a lorry come in, and a lot of these DVDs would be like not even that old, and collector's editions and everything, and they'd just be going into the shredder in the prison workshop. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Plus, like we said, there's no, you know, the cases are smaller, discs are cheaper. There's no book, there's no instructions book. You know, haulage isn't as expensive as it used to be. You know, and things like that, but.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's what it is, and I think we've already got it. But I just think it's short-term profits, and in the long term, I just don't think people will bother.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. Like I said earlier, if they bring out the PS6 and it's like and that's what I think they want to do. They think, oh well, iPhone charge over $1,000 because they want to force people to go on a contract, so they're going to put the console up to that. Oh well, but if you sign up for 3 years of Game Pass, you can have the console for free or something. And I think, didn't they try that with late 360 as well, Webby?
They did that with the Xbox.
Yeah, I think it was late 360 when it get it as a phone contract as well.
They did. But also, when I think it was over when the One or the Series come out, I can't remember which one, there was deals where you could pay a monthly payment, like for the console and Game Pass, all as, as a subscription model. Anyway, but and I've had every console at launch since probably like the year 2000. That's a long time, and I think next gen is probably going to be the first gen where I don't buy the new consoles at launch, just because I just don't see. I think they're too expensive. I think there's not enough change in the games now. Like, I don't know.
Especially when, the games aren't, not all of them, but a lot of them come out a buggy mess. They're cheaper, like you said, they're cheaper on PC. And also, 80 quid a game.
It's a lot of money. So, and I know, and one argument that really pisses me off about the £80 game thing is people say, well, back in the 90s, I paid 80 quid for Street Fighter on the Mega Drive on the cartridge. And I'm like,
it was a niche thing then.
Yeah.
It wasn't as mainstream. And like I said, cartridges
were
actually
expensive.
Cost so much money. Yeah. Those games that were like, say, I mean, I've posted some pictures in my Discord and stuff of like the old, like Dixon's or Argos, and they're like 65 quid. I'm like, but there was nowhere near the profit in that game.
No, because the actual physical object of the cartridge was expensive to produce.
Yeah, I mean, those cartridges were a lot. I mean, they said like a third of it went to the shop, a third of it went to the taxman, and the other third of it actually went to the people who made the game, and that includes manufacturing and and stuff like that. So, it's just, that's what I'm saying. It just doesn't hold up because there's so many things. Like you look at TVs now, Webby. Like how much cheaper are TVs now? You could get a 65-inch TV now for like 500-600 quid, like a decent one. Whereas 10 years ago, that cost you $2-3 grand for the cheaper 65-inch. They're not saying, oh, well, due to inflation, your TV that you bought for £500 20 years ago, that's $5 grand, please, because people won't pay it, will they?
No.
I just think they're just, like I said, it's the people in charge just taking the piss.
Yeah. Okay, let me get on to the last piece of news then, because I'm looking at the clock. Gears of War Reloaded. The original Gears of War being remastered. I just want to say this again, because I've actually remastered this already before, and I played the remaster. It's been remastered again. It's called Reloaded, and it's coming to, drumroll please, Xbox, Steam, and PlayStation in the summer. May the 5th. No, that's today. In the summer, apparently. So I was just reading the dates.
August the 26th, I think.
Is it August? I was just reading the top of this. August the 26th, 2025. There we go. For $40.
I don't know they keep remastering and remastering these old games, yet they announced Gears 6 like 3 years ago and we haven't seen nothing of it since.
What I don't get is we've moaned about PlayStation for remastering The Last of Us like 500 fucking times. Microsoft are doing the same thing with Gears of War. This is the fucking second remaster.
Are people buying it again? People must be paying for it again, otherwise they won't keep doing it.
Well, I played the remaster on Game Pass. And this is coming to Game Pass as well, right? But I played it on PC, so it was a huge upgrade going from 360 to the a remaster on PC, but that only come out, in my mind, a couple of years ago. So I'm quite...
It came out Xbox One. It must have been about...
am I just...
2017?
2016,
2017. Ultimate. I think it's Gears of War Ultimate. I know what you mean. Why have they not remastered at least the second one? Why do the first one again?
Yeah, I don't understand. But I can see why they're putting it on PlayStation though, because more money, right?
I wonder if they're going to delist the original
Ultimate Edition. Oh, it's called Ultimate Edition.
I literally said Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. But no, again, that's another Xbox exclusive going to PlayStation. We'll see Halo on PlayStation soon, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I think everything's going to go over there.
So weird. Oh, 2016, the remaster came out, so it's actually been 9 years. Jesus, okay.
And 20 years since the first one came out.
Well, that time has flown by.
Sorry, 19 years. That's 2006.
So it's not as bad as The Last of Us, where they do a remaster every year or two.
Yeah, and they've done another remaster and put part 1 and part 2 together.
Yeah, 95 quid it is on the store.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And realistically, I bet you could just put a PS4 and the PS5 version next to each, or even the PS3 version and the PS4 next to each other on 2 TVs, and no one would really tell much of a difference, would they?
Well, I'll just platinum the remaster, the first one.
Wow. Well, will you be buying...
Sending me abusive messages.
Not to be repeated on the podcast.
Dragon Age. Yeah.
You didn't talk about Dragon Age, Peebs.
No, it's because we've been going on for so long that I thought I'm not going into that now. I'll have to talk about it next time I come on, because I haven't finished it yet anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll save that for a couple of weeks' time then.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Watch this space for Peebs talking about the woke of age. St. Adams has just said on Twitch that he's going to be getting Gears on the PS5, so at least you'll have a buddy to play it with, Peebs.
Yeah, I think I'd be tempted to pick it up again, depending on the price.
Well, I'll be playing it on Game Pass, mate. Hopefully it's cross-play. And then we can play together, join together, green and blue together as friends. Friends. I have a question that I'm going to read out from What's My Tag, and then we're going to end. He says, I'm curious what retro consoles people still have hooked up. I have a PS3 and an OG Xbox that still get used weekly. PS3 for sports games and Xbox for the OG Ghost Recons. And I guess PSP and Vita are retro now. I still play both loads. And if you have no actual consoles hooked up, do you emulate any regularly?
Oh, well, I've got an old PS3 hooked up currently, actually.
Nice.
I downloaded my entire PS Plus collection onto it. I haven't switched it on for a little while, but I've got tons of games on there which you can't play anywhere else.
Fantastic.
Such as Tokyo Jungle, the weirdest game I've ever seen in my life, but it's brilliant.
Wow.
And I also have a Generation 2 PSP as well, and a whole bag of discs, and occasionally play that as well. That's a good little console.
Which gen PSP? Is it the 2000 or the 3000?
I think it's the 2000 that I've got.
You should have got a 3.
Well, it's
play films on.
Yes, it's got the UMDs on it, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I got a whole box of games. I inherited it from a friend of mine who didn't want it anymore. But no, it's a good little console.
Nice.
Those are the days.
No, I've got nothing hooked up. I've sold all my old stuff to fund buying new stuff.
Yeah.
You regret it?
Yeah, well, partly, like I say, I regret the Star Wars Xbox, and then I did have the Uncharted limited edition PlayStation 4 as well.
Is it because they're worth money, or because you want to use them though? That's the question.
Bit of both. Bit of both. But then I know we all like Webby's had a bit of a nostalgia kick lately, and I get that as well. But I just don't think I would switch them on. Just gather dust.
There's only so many hours in the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, Nick. We'll go for Nick. Go for it, mate.
Because mine's a bit okay. I've got 360 and Series X, I think the other one. I've got PS2 hacked, PS3, PS4 Pro. I've got the Sega Dreamcast and the Sega Saturn all hooked up.
Lovely.
Plus, I've got like 6 PSPs, 2 Vitas, and about 7 variants of Nintendo DSs, all at hand.
Nice.
But yeah, they're actually hooked up. But you got to remember, a lot of these older consoles, they won't fit on modern TV, so you have to either get some kind of adapter. You can get some the RGB to HDMI, but a lot of that looks crap. Not just that. I think some TVs they don't actually go lower than 480p resolution. So a PS2 wouldn't work on it. You have to get a special HDMI converter to upscale it. Yeah, so like all my consoles have got HDMI.
Oh, I was going to say, do you have an old CRT? But obviously you don't then.
That's right, because I stream and I have to put them through a capture card with HDMI. I mean, in the long run, I probably should have bought some sort of multi thing that you could just put like a retro thing. But at the time when I was starting, it was peak COVID, and these boxes were like £700-800, sometimes £1,000 second hand, because they weren't making them anymore. So when you spend maybe £20 to £25 per cable, that's a lot cheaper in the time than spending that. But
some of those converters are very expensive.
Yeah, I know you get what you pay for, but to pay that sort of money back then would have been stupid.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice, mate. I mean, I only have my 360 hooked up. I've got a PSP and a Vita in my drawer next to me at the minute. I've got 2 original Xboxes, a crystal one and a black one. The black one's modded. But all my other old systems are in the loft in tubs at the moment. Just because I don't have the room for it all, to be quite honest with you. And I might have mentioned in the past that I emulate quite heavily anyway. So I just got it on my stream if people are interested. I've got 11,063 games emulated on my PC at the minute, mainly arcade games, main games, but console wise, Xbox, Xbox 360, the TurboGrafx 16 and the CD, N64, NES, GameCube, the 32X, the Sega CD, obviously the Mega Drive, Dreamcast, Master System, Saturn, Neo Geo, PS1, PS2, and the NES, all on my PC, ready to go at a moment's notice anyway. For anyone interested though, it can be quite hard to manage all those games and systems, so I use a program called Launchbox, which it's a bit like Plex if you've used Plex. So basically, you use an emulator in the background, or got RetroArch, and for the arcade stuff, it's MAME. But basically, it's like Plex, so it scans all your ROM files and it downloads all the cover art, the box art, music, everything. So when you're hovering over a game, it'll play a little bit of music from it. It'll show you the box art, even downloads all the manuals as well. So it's really, really cool piece of kit, really. So I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's actually like a front end for people when they build their own arcade cabs as well. So yeah, I've got shitloads. It's great. I'm really happy with it. I'm missing quite a few ROMs for Xbox and stuff, though, just because they take up a lot of room. I need to get some more hard drives, really. But yeah, it's really great to visit those old systems and games. They run well.
I know,
but
none of you guys probably do TikTok, but on TikTok, loads of TikTok shops now, and they're one of the main things they sell are these handhelds that have all the games on them.
Yeah, I've got one.
I've got one of those, actually.
Yeah, I've got
£40.
Yeah, I don't play it as much as I should. You know, they keep asking me to do stuff at work rather than play games, which I'm not happy with.
What?
Yeah, it's terrible.
How dare they?
So what have I got? The R36S, I think I've got. I think that's what mine's got.
I've got the same one as you, I think.
Yeah,
the only problem I find with it is the buttons are slightly too dinky for some games.
Yeah.
It's a little bit tricky to play some of the games, but it's interesting.
What's quite interesting is they sell it on Amazon, £32. How the hell are they getting away with that? Especially with Nintendo games on it. I think that's mental. I really do.
I'm guessing these aren't online, are they? They're just
dumb standalone.
Yeah.
Great little system.
I think in the description, they're like, it doesn't actually come with the games.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, it does. You're getting like, oh? Yes. But I think that's a good question tag. So thanks for that, mate. Got some good conversation going there. Also emulate on my Steam Deck as well. So I've got like that little handheld that you talked about, the FX, but then I've got a load on my Steam Deck as well. So it's like I've got all these places to play all these old games, and I've got like they brought out the mini NES and the mini SNES and the mini Mega Drive like a few years back. Then you could soft mod them, so I've soft modded them to have like the whole library of all the games on those little systems as well. So that's pretty cool. Yes. And that's all the questions. That was the only question. So I think on that note, guys, been almost 3 hours recording. I think it's about time we called it a day.
Yes, I need to go to bed.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on, everybody. It's been awesome. Nice to have you guys come back, especially those of you that have been on for a while. So thank you very much. So from all of us here, it's been awesome. Big thank you to those of you that have stayed on Twitch the whole time. Amazing. So from all of us here, it's been awesome. We will see you next week. Goodbye.